I'm muted. I do that every
It's good. So
time.
I was like, damn, is my
Hello,
mic broke or is my headset broke?
hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Pipeline Podcast. I'm your host today, Darren McClymonds, episode 76. 76 of these things. I'm
It's a
insane.
lot.
Connor, how are you? How's it
Hey, I'm
going?
good. Was that a new opening?
We used it last week, but yeah, it's
Okay.
semi-new. Yeah,
Cool.
I
Cool.
like
That
it.
was a cool opening.
I appreciate it. I've been kind of used to using that for like my main channel thing. I was like, what? It's a good opener. I'll just use it for
Yeah.
everything now.
I
Just
like it.
change the title on it. We'll use it for everything. Connor, I'm very excited for today's episode. This was a while
Yeah.
inside the making. I wanted to make this as a video kind of around the time The Flash ended, because that was kind of the high of
Yeah.
me
We
just being
talked
like,
about some of that stuff then, didn't we?
right,
Yeah.
100%. And yeah, just kind of wanting to be like, Arrowverse is over. In my head, if I was a billionaire and I could just do whatever I wanted and I could get all the actors I wanted and the budget wasn't an issue, how would I create or like further this universe that we both love? And like creatively, just as a fan, what would I do in the future of the Arrowverse? We haven't like, it's been a while since I guess we really talked about Arrowverse stuff. Like we talked about the
Yeah.
Flash a couple weeks ago. The Arrowverse has been over. The Flash started its final season about a year ago recently, so
Yeah.
it's going on a year since the Arrowverse has kind of wrapped up. How
Yeah.
how are you feeling now that it's kind of all done and over, and we kind of have a break a bit from like the main DC stuff?
I think it's been good to have a break. I mean, like I love the Arrowverse. Like it's definitely one of my favorite franchises of all time. But the Arrow itself is like my favorite piece of media, I think, of all time. But it's been good to have a break from it because
Hmm.
it did feel at times that it was a bit overwhelming, that it was so much coming out. But then Flash season 9 was mostly on its own in terms of the Arrowverse stuff airing on its own. So like once it ended, it was kind of it was weird. It wasn't like we were getting overwhelmed with it, but I definitely Flash season 9 it kind of deflated me a little bit in terms of my
Oh,
hype for the Arrowverse. I was like,
sure.
yeah, some of this is really good, but some of this is not how I would have ended this franchise.
Right.
So I guess we'll see today if we would have done it differently. If we would have,
Yeah. No,
yeah,
for sure. Like the Flash. I love the Flash. You guys know that it's one of my favorite shows, but that final season really killed me. Like it really did, and not necessarily my love for the Arrowverse, but definitely I think took down my love of the Flash down a few
yeah,
pegs. I think the way you end your show, that final episode of any show, in my opinion, is one of the most important episodes
absolutely,
of your show, because that is how you remember it. And now when I look back at the show, my main memory is that final episode, and I didn't love that final episode. I didn't kind of love what they ended up doing in general with that final season. And like I was kind of left with this feeling of like I miss the Arrowverse, but I don't know if I necessarily miss the Flash. And I was kind
yeah,
of okay that the Flash had kind of wrapped up and finished up his storyline. But again, I was still very much heartbroken that Super Lois was now kind of part on its own, that Black Lightning ended on sore terms, that
yeah,
Legends was canceled, that Stargirl was canceled, that Batwoman was canceled, and I would have loved to have seen this universe carry on with new characters. And I think
for
we're going to
sure,
talk about here. I think there were a lot of outlets. If the budget was there, if Nexstar hadn't come in and ruffled with things, if Warner Brothers wasn't in such an interesting spot, how they could have took the universe further and how we could have evolved things in the future of just everything. So,
yeah.
but yeah, no, I'm gonna be very curious to kind of see how different our lists are and kind of how we would have done
I think
things
it'll be pretty
differently.
different.
100%. I need
Just
to
based
fix.
off of what you said there, I'm like, yeah, we're coming at this from completely different angles.
Yeah, no, I'm very curious. So I need to fix something really really quick here, but
Cool.
while I do that, let's talk about just really quick. It's Superman's birthday today,
It
right?
is,
It's
yeah.
his,
Happy
it's
birthday,
officially his
Superman!
birthday.
86th birthday.
What are your thoughts on just like the whole environment right now with like DC, and not like DC, but like all the Superman stuff that's been going on this last week or so? Like the filming has started.
Yeah,
There's been that Crest that's come out. A lot of people are either love it or hate it, or there's a lot of controversies on it. A lot of people are like, "Hey, are we getting a Superman suit today?" What's your thoughts on like
where is it,
all of that
James?
stuff?
Where is it, James?
Where
Where's
is
the
that
suit?
suit, James?
No, I'm really excited. I think it's a really good time to be a Superman fan. I think the Superman Lois news from last week was a little bit
Hmm.
of a downer on the overall kind of atmosphere surrounding Superman at the moment. But in general, I think we're going into some good stuff with Superman as a
Right.
character. I think like going into Legacy, it's really exciting. I'm so excited to see what that film looks like and what they're going to do with it. The cast photo last week and the crest coming out last week, it's the first kind of feeling that okay, we're going into a new era of Superman. Like this is the very beginning of seeing the new stuff. And I mean, to me, the crest doesn't matter as much until I actually see what it looks like on the suit.
Right.
It's like at the moment, I'm kind of like everything that we're seeing is just the black and white look at the Kingdom Come crest, but I feel like it's not going to look at all like that on the suit. I think they're probably going to take that crest, they're probably going to make it red and yellow, and do a few little other changes to it. It's not just going to be the straight up Kingdom Come crest. So I think whatever that looks like on the suit itself is what's going to be the decider for me on if it's a good crest or not, or if it's a good suit or not.
Right.
But I'm excited to see what it looks like. I genuinely thought it'd be today because, like,
I
yeah,
really hope.
they start filming this week, but
Yeah.
if they don't, if they weren't going to release it on his birthday, are they going to release it this week? I think we're
I
probably looking at
real
next week.
I really hope that they get ahead of all the leakers, because I know for a
They
fact
have
James
to,
Gunn
right?
knows about the leaks. He
Yeah,
knows what we're doing there. He knows that people are going to go on set and take photos and have all that kind of stuff. And I hope they just they get ahead of it. They get a good photographer, get like a like do a photo shoot of him inside the suit, make it official, make it feel
yeah,
like a moment that like, oh, this is the moment we saw the first look at this generation Superman. Like that's what I
yeah,
would love if they did.
for sure.
Um,
Completely agree. Because I think like that was a problem with the Arrowverse for years, was the suits kept leaking, and
yeah,
it always just kind of ruined the hype for it a little bit.
yeah. But thoughts on what the Superman suit should look like? Do you have like a preference that like you would like to see from
Yeah.
it?
I really, 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 really want it to be a modern version of the 1940s and 1950s suit. I
Mhm.
think going really traditional, upgraded materials to match today, that gold outline around the crest, that would be personally like if they have that gold outline around the
Yeah,
crest with the traditional blue, red, and yellow colors, that'd be like my perfect suit, I think.
right. I think I definitely think he's going to go with a. I think he's going to try and compromise the most that he possibly can,
Yeah.
because he's addressed the outlash of just like, oh, people really want the like trunks and the cape and it to be very classical, and he also knows the opposite side of it of being like, no, that's stupid and lame and dumb, and I don't want all this kind of stuff, right? So like.
Yeah.
I think it's like he knows it. He's talked about like, yo, this is an insane thing. I don't even know what we're doing yet. Like, I got to think about what we're doing here. So I
Yeah.
definitely think he's going to try and aim something that can. It's not going to please everyone. It's just not, because there's no way of pleasing everyone. Like you
For
can't
sure.
have both ways. But hopefully something that is like this middle ground of very modern, and also hopefully something that brings the older look that I think we all
Yeah.
that
Absolutely.
like it like I'm kind of with him though. Like I don't care too much. Like I like both looks. I think I actually really like what like Superman Lois did, where it's like he starts with a very classical look and then we slowly see him go bigger and like, do a more modern looking thing as they kind of
Yeah.
have went on.
For sure.
So I think that'd be really, really cool.
I think that the
Hero.
one thing that I'd like really, really, really want to see on the suit is
Mhm.
just like the one thing I think the suit needs is bright colors. I don't want another dark
Mm,
blue the way Man of Steel
right,
had, or even early Superman Lois had. I want full on like bright blue, bright red, bright yellow.
right. I agree, I think. Yeah. And like I also think I honestly kind of want Superman to be a bit silly, because like I
Yeah,
think he's going to be in a world that is like kind of darker at the moment. Like I think
yeah,
he's going to be jumping into a world where there are these other superheroes, but maybe they're not great ones. Like maybe they're kind of assholes. Like maybe they're very stuck up and maybe they don't care as much about either killing or the violence or there being hope. There's like we're saving people, whatever, we're doing our job, we don't care. So I think having Superman come in like this very upfront Boy Scout, just wants to save people and save people from trees and be
yeah,
that good person. And I think I want him to be the person that like his mom made a suit and he's just there to save people because it's a good thing to do. Like
yeah. I
I
agree.
I, I would love that from him.
I think so as well. I think he needs to be very bright and optimistic from the get
Right.
go.
100%, 100%. Before we kind of get going here, Connor, you finished your Star Trek journey, right?
I did, yeah, this week.
How was that?
Uh, So the reason I started the rewatch was
Mm.
because Star Trek Picard season 3, when it was announced 2 years ago, it was announced as being the culmination of the Next Generation, Voyager, and Deep Space Nine. So tons of different areas. So I was like, okay, I've wanted to rewatch Star Trek for years. I'm doing that now, and I cannot think of a better way for my rewatch to have ended than with Picard season 3, because it felt like it was just every single thing from my rewatch somehow
Right.
came back during that season. So watching it for the first time along with it, it felt like the end of a journey, and it was real emotional. But I liked it a lot.
Oh.
I think it's wild. I spent a year and a half rewatching all that stuff, and I was like,
Mm.
okay, I'm kind of over it. And then as soon as I watched Star Trek Picard season 3, I was like, I could start rewatching these all again right now. I could do it. I could do it.
Right. Oh man, I do that a lot where it's like
Yeah.
I get stuck on a show for so long. Walking Dead I've been watching for like 3 years now, and I'm only now on season 5. Like I'm very bad about watching through stuff, but then I'll finish it and be like, man, I kind of want to watch this stuff again. Like I kind of want to watch this thing
Yeah.
I've been watching for so long again, but I can't do that. That's 20,000 seasons of like
Yeah,
TV.
yeah.
I can't do that. So it is very interesting. I kind of want to start. Okay, so I'm very bad at opening these pods. Like I'm very like it's always kind of awkward to be like, all right, let's just jump into the main thing. But I kind of like this idea that we start these episodes talking about what we watched during the week, or like what
I'll
some
be
of our
down for
favorite
that.
things that we watch for that.
I'll
That
be
gives
really
me
down
the
for that.
chance to talk about like my Walking Dead journey and stuff like that. Which I don't actually think I watched that much Walking Dead this week. I'm at a point. I have episode 3 next, and like you told me
Ooh,
that
it's a good
is like
episode.
that's your favorite episode, right?
That's my personal favorite episode of the whole show. Yeah.
I have Peak waiting for me. It's just
You have
sitting
peak
there.
win. It's
I
right
just
there.
press a button and it starts, and I was like, but once I watch that, Peak is over. Like I
No,
don't
no,
know if it's going to
you
get
still
better
got
than
some
that.
peak. You still got some peak coming. It might not.
You told me
I
that
mean,
everything else sucks. There's no good
I did say that.
episodes.
I did say that. I said as soon as episode 3's credits start,
Mm,
there's never a single good moment
nope,
of The Walking Dead
nope,
again.
it's all
So
bad.
get used to it. It's all bad. No, you got some good stuff coming. I think
Yeah,
like that the era of the show that you're about to finish is my favorite era of the show,
yeah,
but there is still a lot of really good episodes coming
right,
that I'm excited to hear your thoughts on.
right. I am very excited to see the journey. I am also just kind of curious to see the bad, like to see what defines a bad Walking Dead season. Like, what does that
Yeah.
look like? I'm very weird with like TV because I think like yes, I'd rather if shows were good, but I also think I do think some of the journey was like I mean just like the Arrowverse, like some of the journey of those shows were like, oh, you also have to get through the bad stuff.
You did,
Like
yeah. Yeah.
like that is kind of part of the journey and part of the thing, and we can look back on it and just be like, yeah, that sucked, and laugh about it, and then the like good stuff is even better because it's like contrasted by what didn't work. So
Yeah. Yeah.
like I have a hard time talking about just one like Breaking Bad season because they're all just great to me. Like they're all just like good
They all do
TV.
mesh together as well, I think. I think with Breaking
100%.
Bad's one of
Yeah.
those shows that you can't really like you can separate season 5, I think, but the first 4 seasons you can't really separate a whole lot. Like they feel like they very much go from one into the next pretty consistently.
Right. 100%. Yeah.
But I think like with Walking Dead, it honestly depends what you're looking for. Like some people consider season 6 when it gets bad. I think season 6 is still really consistent. But some people thought season 2 was terrible. Like
right.
people hated season 2 when that came out. And sure, I think season 2 is fantastic. And you said you really liked season 2, right?
I did love season 2.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So you might be into the stuff.
Huh. Okay, Connor, we have some stuff.
Oh, do we
Connor,
got the suit? Do we
I
got the
think,
suit?
and maybe a name change.
It's not
A
Legacy
title.
anymore.
Give me 1 second. Hold on.
Okay.
We're gonna look at these guys. This is live. I think.
Okay,
Hold on.
okay.
Wait. Let me check that this is the right account. Okay, it is. Making sure.
Okay.
That would be embarrassing. Okay.
Damn! Imagine that we started it. Oh, look at that! Look at that! It's got the gold outline. So this is exactly what I thought it was going to be. Yellow and red instead of black and white with a gold outline.
Oh.
And did he change it?
Live, ladies and gentlemen. Live reaction.
Wow. That's crazy. That's a new Superman
great.
suit. And it's got like snow and ice on it. So is this like when he gets it from the Fortress of Solitude or something like that?
Maybe. It does kind of
Maybe it's
look
like part of his pod.
the just the style kind of does look a lot like a little like Man of Steel-y. Just like
It
kind of like the
looks a little bit.
textures,
The
which I'm
texture
not
for
mad
sure.
about.
Like,
I'm not mad. I do like that Man of Steel suit. I
so
do think that's
cool.
solid. Okay, hold on. Let's
So did they
James
change
Gunn
the name?
Superman Legacy has been renamed to just Superman, apparently.
Hmm.
Isn't there already a movie just called Superman?
The 1978 Superman, but a lot. I think the official title for 1978 Superman is Superman the movie, but a lot of people just call it Superman. So I think that like technically there is not just a Superman film yet. I'm okay with that. I think Legacy implies a lot of things that I think they haven't earned yet from it being like Legacy implies that there's a whole lot of stuff before the film in terms of the character and the mantle, which there is, but in universe, I think it makes sense to have Superman and have like your third or fourth film maybe be Legacy.
Okay. I liked it though. I kind
No,
of
that's
liked
fair.
the idea that like Legacy was like us getting back to like the roots of the character and like
Yeah.
what he truly stood for. Not that the other films weren't like true Superman. I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to start that battle or anything. But like,
Whoa, what are you saying,
I
Darren?
do think like we kind of did escape at some point of what people think of Superman. So I think kind of
Yeah.
getting back to like the roots of like everything was kind of cool. And like when it first came out, I was like, I'm not sure if I like that name. And I do think a year of calling it Superman Legacy.
It grew on you.
I don't know. It definitely grew on me. I've said that word.
But
That,
I think it's a good name.
Legacy and James Gunn might be the two words I said the most last year when it came to
Sure.
just talking about things. But man, I'm really glad that came out. I think we manifested that.
We did, no, because we were talking about it all day. We were like,
yeah,
is it gonna happen? And for it to come out, like, that is a cool logo.
It is very cool. I'm very happy about that.
Get up my phone for a sec.
So I wonder if we're gonna. So I mean, I guess this is it.
Zoom in on my phone.
I was kind of hoping.
Oh, whoa, okay, there we go.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping. Maybe we get a full shot of the suit. But you know what? This is better than nothing. I don't want to be greedy. I hope leakers
that blue looks pretty bright as well.
It does.
That blue looks pretty bright.
Yo. And shout out to for letting me know. I very much appreciate you guys shouting me out. I very much appreciate that. Dark Chosen in the house. Dark Chosen, how's it going? Appreciate it. So yeah, first look. Do you have any kind of like final thoughts on all this?
I want to touch it. I want to put my hand on that crest right now and just feel that texture because it's got the gold outline. It looks like a really bright blue. It's got some snowy Kryptonian Fortress of Solitude ice on there. And look, like you can see, the S is sticking out as well, which I like. Like you can see that there's kind of a, like there's a, I can't even really tell. So it looks like the yellow is sticking out a bit more than the S's, which I like. Right. It kind of differentiates the two. It doesn't look like the seamless sort of, it's just kind of painted on look you get with some of them.
It looks real.
Like it looks like, it looks real. It looks like there's a difference in how deep one of them goes in terms of the other, which I like.
Right.
No, it's cool.
And that's
cool
not like your Kingdom Come suit. Like that looks different.
I think. It does look a little different, yeah. The red, the way it's like, it's covering an outline in a way the black and white normally doesn't, or the black and red normally doesn't. The gold outline, like that's completely new. Like that's very like 1950s style Superman. Like that's like the cover of like Superman Smashes the Klan or the 1940s like Fleischer Superman. Like that's
right.
That's kind of like that outline, which I love. Yeah, big fan of it.
Oh yeah, this was great. Live reaction, everybody.
This is great.
All right, we're gonna dive into some of today's news. Outside of that breaking news.
That's the news, though.
That would have been.
That's the news. That's Daily Planet exclusive right here.
I love your energy today. I love it. I love it. Brie Larson, everyone's favorite Captain Marvel, Brie Larson said, "Hey, I have nothing to say about when I will be back as Captain Marvel." And all the people are like, "She's done as Captain Marvel. No more Captain Marvel. She's gone," or whatever. All the weird channels are like, "We won," or whatever.
One of Marvel's
Thoughts?
biggest characters isn't coming back, and they won.
But Connor, she's woke. No one likes
Damn,
woke. She's a
you're right.
woman. We can't have a woman. We wouldn't exist without women.
Like,
We
that's
love
about to
women.
get clipped. That's about to get clipped
Oh
everywhere.
no.
It's like, I'm washing my hands of it. I'm washing my hands of it. Not
Ah.
affiliated. Not affiliated.
I mean, you like the Captain Marvel franchise? Are you a fan of it?
I think both Captain Marvel and the Marvels are just fine. I don't
Yeah.
love either of them, but I don't hate either of them either. Like, to me, they're both just fine films. But Brie as Captain Marvel is one of my favorite things about both of them. Like, I think Iman
I
as
agree.
Miss Marvel is easily my favorite part of the second one, but I'd say Brie is definitely right behind Iman as the next part that I love the most about the Marvels. And I think she hasn't gotten too much time to really shine as a character on her own, because she was in Endgame barely. Then in her own original solo film, she's brainwashed most of the time, so we don't really get to see her as Carol Danvers a whole lot. And then in the Marvels, she's sharing her screen time with the other two. So she hasn't really gotten a whole lot of stuff on her own yet. So I think there definitely needs to be some projects coming up that have more focus on her. But if she has no update on her next Captain Marvel return, that's pretty wild.
Right. I think she's just I think she's clearly tired of the fans. I think she's so sick of the internet, which she should be. She that is totally valid. The way that the internet has treated her these last 7-8 years now as this character from the very start has been uncalled for, in my opinion. Absolutely uncalled for. They've treated her in some of the worst ways possible. And she just simply has not got the same, I think, opportunities as the other characters. And I think that might just be, I think maybe they introduced her at a very awkward time. She came in right before the giant event. We had loved all these characters for the last 10 years at that point, and then she's kind of this new kid coming in. You have your in-game stuff. She has the solo film, a film where she's mostly growing as a character. Like you said, she is kind of getting out of this status quo and becoming her own. And then after that, you had your COVID and you had your writer strikes that pushed off her movies 5 years after that. So I just don't think she had the chance. And as you said, that last film was a team movie, and I actually really loved her inside her last role. I think she really grew in that character. She had a lot more personality. It felt, she was having a lot of fun with that, and I think she would continue to have fun with that. With that being said, with this latest movie not making as much money as they probably wanted it to, do you think we're getting a Captain Marvel 3? Do you think that's a thing?
I don't think so. I think because the Marvels, it isn't even just a case of the Marvels not making a lot of money. Captain Marvel crossed $1 billion, whereas the Marvels was the lowest grossing Marvel film in the entire MCU. Of 33 films, the Marvels made the most, or the least. Sorry, the Marvels made the least. So I think if we still have no update on films like Eternals sequel or Shang-Chi sequel, I think Captain Marvel is not in a great spot for getting another film. I think Marvel in general are in a huge state of restructuring at the moment and figuring out exactly what works and exactly what is both quality and making the money, and to push forward with those franchises rather than other stuff. I think unfortunately Captain Marvel as a franchise itself is probably going to be a casualty of putting a lot of effort into a film that's not getting them a lot of gain.
Right.
Because it is a business after all. Even if us as fans would like to see more of a character, they're gonna immediately think about what's making them the money.
100%. Yeah, and I think especially after hearing Bob Iger, right, come out and be we're only focusing on our bigger franchises, our biggest things, and Captain from a business model, and I get it. If you look at those numbers and be that wasn't money-wise, that wasn't working. That didn't make us the same amount of money. Which I do think is very sad, because I do think there's more for Captain Marvel to tell. And Avengers, I definitely think is kind of where we'll probably see her next.
Might just be that's the only place we start seeing her going forward is in Avengers films.
That would hurt. That would hurt a
It
lot.
would. It would
Or
really
or
hurt.
just team up movies again, but I feel like she deserves more than that. I feel like that's such a disservice to her
It is.
as like a actress and as a character. She's supposed to be one of our new big characters, like one of our
Yeah.
major players here. So it would really suck when she didn't get. I would love if they just gave her that third movie. Just be like, all right, she's it's like one of our big threes. Just like throw her a bone. I don't know. I don't know. It's unfortunate, I think.
It is really unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah. Star Wars news. I don't know if you saw this. Ahmad Best teases that he is working on a new Star Wars projects. Thoughts on our Jar Jar Binks there, Connor?
So
You have
I
any
didn't
opinions on
see
that?
I didn't see the original news that said
Okay.
he was working on a Star Wars product, but I did see an update that somebody came out and said he wasn't. Then,
Oh,
like, really
was
recently,
that
like the
false
last couple
news?
hours. No, I think
Oh,
like it was like proper. Let me double check because I did see something after
false
not
news,
seeing like the
everybody.
original one.
False news.
Let me see. I'm at best return.
Okay.
Um, maybe maybe I'm wrong. I thought I saw a tweet that was like he's not coming back after all.
Okay.
I was like,
Well,
huh.
I mean, either way, take this all with like a grain of salt. Just like anything we talk about here, there's always the
Except
chance
for the
that.
Superman suit. Except for the
Oh yes,
Superman suit.
that's real.
real.
Yes, 100%.
That happened. But I mean, yeah. I mean, I know that the Jedi he plays in Mandalorian is from like the Star Wars game show or something.
Mm,
It's like he's like a Jedi who's like in a Star Wars game show that
right.
like is a quiz thing. So if he's back
And he's in
as that
Mando,
Jedi,
right?
yeah,
He
yeah,
was in Mando, or like
yeah.
Backlash stuff, right?
So like that's the character he was playing in Mando was the Jedi who was in like the game show
Okay,
thing, and like the game show like for kids where they come on and they answer Star Wars questions or something like that,
sure.
and he plays like a fictional Jedi inside the
That's
game
fun.
show, and then that's the Jedi he was playing in Mandalorian. Um, but yeah, I think like I don't think they said or they showed what happened to him in
Mm,
Mando, so he could come back.
sure.
Or he could be Jar Jar again because we don't see what happens with Jar Jar either. Maybe Jar Jar's a villain. Who knows?
I thoughts on Jar Jar as a character because like
I mean, I'm a prequel kid, so I
yeah,
never like had the hate for him that a lot of people
yeah,
have.
sure.
Like, so I grew up with the prequel, so it's like he was always just there for me, you know. Like I've got a Jar Jar Binks toy somewhere, so
Same, yeah,
he's just that guy. He's goofy. He's a goofy
right,
guy. You know, when he gets his tongue caught in the pod racer in Phantom Menace, you know, he's just goofing around, just hanging around.
right.
But yeah, I don't mind him.
Yeah, I mean, he's like a bit, I think, where like I pretend he's my favorite Star Wars character of all time. And I think it started as
It's
a
your
bit and
Tron.
now and like yeah, 100%. And now I'm just like I kind of like him, man. Like he's chill.
Yeah,
He's just a silly little guy. Like bring him back. Like I love all of the memes where like it's like Darth Jar Jar and he's a villain and
yeah,
he got the
yeah.
big cloak and the red lightsaber. It's like I would kind of be hype. Like if that
Do
he
you know
just
the backstory to
appeared.
that?
No, I don't. I don't know any of that. No.
Uh, there is a Star Wars documentary for Phantom Menace called Episode One: The Beginning, and it's like the documentary of them making the film. It's a really good documentary. Um, but it's like it really goes into how like George Lucas was feeling in terms of making the film, and in terms of how he felt when the film was made, and how he felt it did not live up to what he thought it was going to live up to.
Hmm,
But one of his quotes in the film was like, "Jar Jar, we got to get Jar Jar right. He's the key to everything. You get Jar Jar right, everything else will work." And then everybody took that to mean you get because Jar Jar was going to be a villain later on, and they were like, that's what that means.
that's funny. I mean I'd be down for it. Give us
And hey,
like a Jar Jar show. Disney Plus,
yeah.
come on, man, do it.
I mean,
No, I
he's the
mean,
one who like started the whole thing where Palpatine got into power. He's like, we'll transfer all
yeah,
the powers to Palpatine.
sure. I
Wild.
would be, I actually think it would be like celebrated now though. Like he
Yeah.
obviously had so much hate, people hated him, but I feel like if he came down now, if he appeared in theaters now, I guarantee you would have a rumbling of people
Oh, for
going,
sure.
yeah, like he's back.
For sure.
It'd be, I think, and I think half of it would be like meme culture, but I think the other half would just be genuinely hyped to see a character that we grew up watching. So
Yeah, for sure.
I'm open to it.
I think him and Jake Lloyd, the kid who played Anakin in Phantom Menace, because both of
Yes.
them got some like heavy backlash at the time.
Yeah, that'd be. I mean, again, I'm not deep inside the Star Wars world, but it's so scary kind of looking at it from all of the
It is a
outside. It's
little bit.
just such a little, like, everyone is so passionate, and some are genuinely really great people. Like, I'm not going after the Star Wars fan base or anything, but just on someone who's very casual about it all, it's like, y'all seem very angry, like, all the
Yeah.
time about everything.
That's kind of why
And
I've never tried to get too much into Star Wars.
right.
I love the franchise, but in terms of like the fandom, I've always tried to like stay a little bit outside of it.
Right. 100%. Yeah, and man, I'm so upset that the MCU is kind of geared in that same exact spot because I think they are becoming just what Star Wars fans are, and it's just
Yeah.
like we hate like this. So it's like there's very few projects people like. Yeah, we love this. It's great. Like almost every
Yeah.
project, it's like this sucks. It could be better. I don't like this. This actor sucks. That's woke. Like there's so much. Every project is like that, and it's so tiring not to just
It
be
is,
able to
yeah.
like say, hey, I like this project and that be okay. You know what I mean? Like it has to be, and I've talked about this so much. I talked about this over in my Avatar stream this past week where it's like it's either you love this thing or you hate this thing, and those are the two
No middle
options. It's
ground.
like, hey, I'm in both of those opinions. I liked it, and there's also things I did not like, and that's okay. You're allowed to be
Yeah.
in that in between spot. That's the fun of like movies and stuff, is you get to talk about what worked and what also didn't work. Like
Exactly.
I think it's a weird culture. I definitely think it really is.
Star Wars YouTube in general like scares me a little bit. Like
Yeah.
I never want to try and get into it because like I'm trying to get into like Star Trek YouTube properly, and I'm
Yes.
noticing even that on my end. It's like it's a little scary. Like people are a little like you say you like something that they don't like, and it's
Yep.
they don't take that kindly.
Oh
Like
yeah.
and I've heard from Star Wars like people who've tried to make Star Wars videos who've like dealt with that where they've tried a few videos and then they've just stopped because the comments have just
Too
been like
much.
so aggressive and just not fun to deal with. And people say like ignore it, but it's like it's hard to. Like, you know, you want to see how your video's doing. So you click on, you see that it's just nonstop kind of hate and stuff like that, just because you like something they don't. And it's kind of just okay, all right, well, I guess I'll stay away from that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, just like as a Star Wars fan, are you kind of excited for this next year of like their like lineup? Because it does kind of feel like there's a lot coming out this year, right?
There is, yeah. There is the Acolytes this year, Skeleton Crews this year. Bad Batch is on at the moment. I'm gonna get into Bad Batch this weekend, I think.
Promotion for that show has been horrendous. I saw nothing about it until it started.
Yeah.
There's like the first 3 episodes, and I was like, there was a trailer. I didn't even know it was even somewhat next to anything. Like I thought it was like end of the year or something. No, it's out. I'm like, all right.
My friend is a huge Star Wars fan, like plays all the games, is into all stuff, has seen all the shows, has seen all the movies. And he texted me the day Bad Batch came out and was like, I was on Disney Plus this morning. Bad Batch's final season started. And I was like, yep. And he's like, I saw nothing about that.
No,
like, there you go. And that's a Star Wars fan, like.
Right. Yeah, right. I'm like very casual with it all, but I still try to keep up with all this news. I mean, like I'm scouring the news every week to like bring up these things to like talk about, and I saw nothing. I heard nothing about it. But I hope they have like a final good season. Like it's one of the.
I've heard it's really good.
Is it? Hell yeah!
I've heard it's good.
That actually makes me happy because like Bad Batch feels like. I mean, it's a completed show. I feel like it's one of the first shows to have like a completed start to finish. I mean, Loki now, I guess, but like. Even that was only 2 seasons. Like it had 3 seasons, it ran its course, and that was done. And that's great. I feel like
the Bad Batch is such like a weird show because like half of it's fantastic, half of it's on par with the best of Clone Wars, and then the other half of it is like really boring. So like it's when it's good though, it's really good.
Right. Hell yeah. Alrighty. Speaking of good, maybe an animated Jurassic League film is in the work. Not Jurassic Park, not Justice League.
Fortunately, not
Jurassic League. This might be outside of the Superman suit the biggest news of the week, which is hilarious.
DC news, yeah.
It's hilarious, especially contrasted to our Batman Beyond news last week. I thought this was hilarious. Okay, I mean, I should start out saying I haven't read the comics. I've seen the photos, and I think they're extremely cute. I think Superman as a shark. I think that's what it is, like a
Yeah.
shark creature. I think that's adorable. I love that. I was not expecting this news. This was not on my 2024 bingo list. Connor, how are you feeling? Are you excited for this?
So I get that they're going for like different demographics or whatever. They're like DC have always kind of been very much a make so much stuff that everybody has something kind of studio.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's, well, I guess they're only a studio now, but in terms of like Warner Brothers, how they treat DC
Right.
is like make one thing that maybe there's something for everybody. And I think that's kind of what they're going for here with Jurassic League. It feels like it's kind of in the same vein as like Super Pets was.
Mm-hmm.
My problem though is that DC animation is such in the gutter at the moment in terms of like legitimately high budget theatrical animated films that like, do we really want a Jurassic League film over over a Spider-Verse inspired Batman Beyond film?
Yeah.
You know, like, because I can't imagine this will be. I mean, maybe it'll come out and people will be like, it's the greatest thing ever. Good. But at the moment, I'm like,
Yeah.
there are so many cool things. Like, imagine like a proper animated Wonder Woman film or something like that. I think that'd be cool. Jurassic League, I can't say hearing about it straight away makes me go, hell yeah, give me that now. Superman who? Get me in my Jurassic League film.
Right. No, I mean it's an interesting announcement for sure. And here's my take. I think if this means that we could hopefully get more movies like this with a more streamlined lineup, then
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. Like if this is what it takes to get a big budget animated Batman movie, Flash movie, Superman movie, Wonder Woman movie, Justice League, right? As we were doing on the smaller scale for years, because those films, and with your Arrowverse and like a lot of the other DC stuff that wasn't like your mainstream DCU, in my opinion, carried DC for so many years. Those
For
were
sure.
the titles that I grew up on. I grew up on your Justice League and your Batman anime series and stuff like that. Those were my like introductions to DC. And I think it could be on a much larger scale for people. And I think it's a great way to bring kids, Dad, I want to go see Batman, and go see that Batman, and that's their way in. I do this. I'll be very curious because James Gunn is still involved with this. This is a very James Gunn project. Like this is so James Gunn of him. Like, and I have no doubt it will be good. Like I think I'll come out and be like, this was the greatest thing I've ever seen. Like it's peak cinema. Like, so I'm for it. I'm not against it. I'm so curious what that cast is going to be like. Like,
yeah. I mean, I think it'll be the same as Super Pets, where they go for some pretty big stars.
Yeah. Jack Black as Superman and
Chris Pratt as
Grant Gustin
Batman.
as Flash.
Maybe.
It'd be fun. That'd be really
Grant Gustin as Shark Superman. Maybe.
He's wanted to be Superman for years. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
That'd be so
Yeah,
funny.
I feel like it's maybe it'll be good.
He's been waiting for years. He just wants to be Superman. He
does, yeah.
Waiting for that call.
It's his favorite superhero, isn't it? It's like his favorite character of all time. Yeah. I can relate, Grant, if you're watching this. I know you are, but I can relate to that.
Yes. He watches every week.
Yeah. I was talking to him earlier. He said he was on. He was going to come on, but
oh hell yeah,
he couldn't make it.
Oh damn it! Stupid Broadway. What a great transition. Grant Gustin would be down to play the Flash again if James Gunn asked. That he was asked this earlier in the week, so all the people are jumping on this as if it's breaking news that Grant Gustin's coming back.
He's back.
I've been seeing so many people on my Facebook who are like, Grant Gustin's playing the Flash in the DCU, and it's like, no, he's not. Stop it. Stop pushing that narrative.
You're setting yourself up for disappointment because then you're going to go see the film and he's not going to be there, and you're going to be like, but they told me he was. They told me he was in the film.
We've talked about on the show. This might be one of our number one topics back during the summer, especially when the Flash was wrapping up and Flash has just ended. So many people were like, "Do you think Flash? Do you think like Grant Gustin will play the Flash again in James Gunn's world?" And we kept saying, "I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think he should. Grant Gustin's my guy. He will always be my Flash." And I'll be honest, if they announce it tomorrow, I'll be fucking hyped as hell. Like, I'll be over the moon. But I
Sure.
think that would be the wrong move.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
I think you need actually think you need a break from Barry Allen as a whole for a couple years. Actually, um, I think I think I've given my pitch on this for a while, where I think Grant, like, you can have Barry Allen be the current Flash, but I think the movie should be about Wally. I think Wally
Yeah.
should be the Flash that you focus on. I think by the end of chapter 1, Barry should die and Wally should be the main Flash, because
Okay. Interesting.
I think that's kind of how you should focus, because I think there's been so much Barry stuff over the last couple years, and I feel like you definitely should give a shout out to your Jay Garricks and your Wally Wests and your Impulses, and but no, I don't think Grant would want to do it for another 10 years.
Yeah.
But maybe.
I mean,
I don't know.
I think it's like as well. I have a funny feeling they're for chapter 1 they're gonna let pretty steer clear of Flash, Aquaman,
Yeah.
characters like that. I think we will have a Justice League pretty much solidified by the end of the first chapter, but I think it's going to be like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Hawkgirl, Green Lantern.
Right.
Who else we got? Supergirl. I think it's going to be like the characters we know we're going to be in chapter 1. I think they're the League. I think characters we
Right.
haven't heard about in chapter 1, like Flash, Aquaman, I think they're keeping them out for a while. I think they'll be like whatever the phase 2 of the League is. They'll show up then.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they currently have enough characters to just have
They do, yeah.
more than 7. Like,
Yeah.
even if you want to be different, you can be like, hey, we have a Booster Gold. Like, why can't he be a 7th member? That'd be kind of fun. That'd be different.
Yeah. They've got like Tree Lanterns, Metamorpho, Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, Superman, Supergirl, Batman, a Robin, and probably Wonder Woman. So like
Right.
they're pretty set. And
Right.
Swamp Thing if they want to
100%.
go crazy with it and have them like a Justice League dark side thing going on.
Sure. And like, that's not even half of chapter 1. Like, we have
Yeah.
an entire
Yeah.
another chapter. I don't think we're doing Justice League. I would say it's gonna be several years until we start doing like a Justice League.
Yeah.
And
I'd say
this
it's going to be
chapter
like
1. Yeah.
5 years before chapter 1's even over. I'd say
Yeah.
we'll be looking at like 2030 before chapter 1's ending. Like
That's actually
it's
insane.
crazy. It is, yeah.
Right, it really is, yeah. But yeah, I love Grant. I'm down for like a John West ship type role for him, where it's like,
Mhm.
I've heard people say Jay Garrick. I think Jay Garrick would still be confusing for a lot of people, at least this soon into the role. Like, I feel like people would be like, wait, I thought he was Barry Allen. Why
Yeah.
is he whatever? Maybe like a Henry Allen, like give him a beard and like brown hair or something, like darken his hair, have him be
Sure.
like a like young Henry Allen. I'd be down for that. Something like that I think would be really fun to just see the evolution of that.
Sure.
But
Yeah, I think I agree on that. Like Jay Garrick, it's like you'd want 10 to 20 years since his last role
yes,
before he
right.
plays Jay Garrick.
Yeah, it'd be like, why? I thought he was the other Flash, and I thought, like, I can already see it being be like, wait, why does that work now?
Yeah.
Do you have anyone that you would like to play the Flash?
Damn. Interesting question. Honestly, I'm not too sure. Like I've got my picks for other things. Like I still think like Tom Cruise would make a fantastic Hal Jordan. I think Glenn Powell would make a great Booster Gold. But Flash, I'm not sure. Flash is a very different. I think for Flash, you'd want to go a different direction than Grant. You'd want to make him a little bit more
Yes.
nerdy, a little bit more like science focused, kind of more of like the because like comic book Flash is way more not uptight, but he's a bit more serious than Grant's Flash, and I think they'd want to go in that direction of like, he's more. You'd want to separate the two characters. You don't want people like coming in and going, "Oh, it's just Grant again." They could have gotten Grant to play him. So I'm not sure though. Dave Bautista. Yeah, there is some blonde. Yeah, who's blonde? Melissa Benoist.
Oh, let's go.
Let's get it.
Let's go.
New Flash and Ed's here.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Already in our final kind of main news stories here, James Gunn and Peter Safran will give a new DCU update in coming months. So
I think they've got to.
I think this is smart because it's officially been over a year since the last news update.
Yeah, last January, I think.
hmm I definitely think, and I think we might be under the same kind of frame of mind that as hype as that was, as much as I loved that announcement, I think they did that very well. I think
Yeah,
that hype has lasted about a year. I do think it was a smidge too early. I do
it's
think
running
they
out now. Yeah.
maybe jumped the gun, if you will.
Hey,
Um, and I do think doing that prior to a lot of these other films coming out, like maybe you should have done it right, maybe in the summer, maybe
yeah,
after
yeah.
Shazam, after maybe after
They could have
Flash
went to Comic
even.
Con. They could have done
Yeah.
something at Comic Con.
Because like I do understand not knowing whatsoever what the future of like DC is like after your last film is out is a bit risky. And like I do understand, hey, they needed to start working on these projects and there's no way to work on these projects without the public knowing. So getting ahead of that was smart. But maybe
Yeah.
I don't know, tried to do something. Like I don't know. It's definitely it's and listen, this was a messy situation either way. There was not a way you could have done this without it being messy. Like
Yeah.
getting rid of a a a whole franchise and starting fresh is going to be messy no matter what. Waiting would have also had its problems. Waiting would have been people would have been like, oh, but we could have been working all this stuff this whole time. Like there wasn't a great path to go either way.
Yeah.
Um, but what do you want to see in this new update?
Well, I think the main thing I want to see is just production updates in terms of where everything's
Mhm.
at, but also like what the timeline is, like what projects are coming after Legacy. Well, I guess it's not Legacy anymore. What projects are coming after Superman? Damn, we could just call it Superman now. That's great. Um, because I've been
That is
calling it
true.
Legacy for the past year and a half.
Same
Um,
legacy, yeah.
but that's gonna take some time to get used to. But I think yeah, like because I mean I think a lot of people are assuming now that Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is probably going to be one of the first
The
projects, just
second,
based off of
yeah,
how soon it's going into
right,
to kind of full on development. But I think because I don't think that video they released, I don't think that was ever meant to be like this is exactly when things are coming out. Because Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow was the second last project in that video out of the 9 or 10 projects they released. So it like going off of that, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow would have been a 2028, 2029 project, but now we're
right.
probably looking at like early 2026, I'd
26.
say.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I think like when the video comes out, we need to see, or I guess whatever the way they announce it, we need to know exactly what the dates are for these projects. I
sure.
mean, I know giving dates to things kind of is just asking for things to get delayed, but at least like now, when something gets delayed, we don't know about it. Like all these projects could have been delayed besides Superman, and we would never have known. Um, but I think like yeah, we need to just know, is Waller after Legacy? Is Peacemaker first?
Right.
Is the authorities coming in the next year or two? Like we need that sort of stuff. I
Yeah.
would say that's more important than finding out what the rest of the stuff in chapter one is. I think you can even like save announcing the rest of chapter one until you're
Yes.
2 or 3 projects in.
Oh, I 100% agree. I don't want to hear anything else. Like
Yeah,
if stuff
same.
is about to get leaked or something, yeah, sure. I get going and doing that ahead of time. But like we have currently just in the main timeline 10 projects announced.
It's
That's
a
more
lot.
than
Yeah,
the MCU currently, I'm pretty sure. Or, it's about the same. And I think that's a big
yeah,
issue with like the MCU currently is like we know too much ahead of time and we're waiting 4 or 5 years for these projects to come out. And it seems like the DCU so far is doing a really good job of it. Hey, they're announcing it. Hey, we're gonna start filming in like a couple months. Like,
yeah,
they're really working on these projects and actually doing it. And I think that's totally fine. Um, but no, I don't want to hear anything else until at least like we're 3 to 4 projects in. Like I
yeah.
really don't want to hear anything else. I assume we're going to get a lot more casting. They've apparently
I would
already
hope that.
casted
Yeah,
our Booster Gold is apparently already casted, so I would imagine they're going to do that. I would
yeah,
say an entire Authority casting. I know we already have a couple, but I bet they'll have like the full lineup out here. Be like, this is who the cast of this movie is. Maybe give some insights on like the plot of this. So like a Waller, like what's a Waller going to be about? Maybe
yeah,
a real update on what the heck is going on with Peacemaker. Why is he here? Why is he in like the DCU? Are they going to tease like, oh, it's a multiverse thing and he fell through or something?
yeah.
That kind of thing. Maybe some more suits, being like, hey, here's a full
I
shot
would
of
like that.
of our
I would
Superman
like
suit.
that.
So there's a lot that they can do, and I think James Gunn is actually, I think they've marketing wise has actually kind of been okay. So like our last pitch video, we had this had stuff had basically just been announced that they are rebooting everything.
Yeah,
We
we didn't
hadn't
know what they
got
were
the
doing
full
yet.
slate yet. Yeah, we didn't know anything. And like we were like, I don't know if DC, like I don't know if people can like move on from the DCEU. And I was just like, I kind of think they already have. Like I feel like more people are now talking about Legacy than like Henry Cavill, and I think that's just how the internet works. Our
Yeah,
attention spans are like
things go
goldfish.
like that. They just
It really
instant.
does. I mean, Avatar came out a week ago now, and people are done talking about it already because
Yeah.
it's a new thing. We're always moving
Yeah, it
on
was
to like
all
the
of
new
my
thing.
Twitter last week, and this week it's like I still see one big drama tweet, and that's it.
Right. Yeah, no, 100%. It's and like I almost think that's a problem with just like us as a society when it comes to our news thing. And I do the same thing. I'm the same way. Like we talk about a movie once, and I was like, all right, we're on to like the next thing. And even like
Yeah,
the MCU does that. I actually think they started that trend a bit where it's like, okay, this is the current movie, but here's a tease for our next movie. So like we're trained to always be thinking about what's next, what's the next thing, what is this building onto, what's going on next, and we don't focus as much as like right now, what's coming out right now, you know.
yeah,
So but no, I definitely think, but like I think the marketing has been very good for this movie as far as just like spreading it out within a year. Like it's been a year already, and there was never there outside of the strikes clearly, but that wasn't their fault. But like each month, there's been something that has come out, some new
yeah.
piece of like info that is keeping us happy and keeping us talking for an entire year, and that definitely makes me happy, especially in an era with so many other stuff kind of shutting down. Like the Arrowverse is shut down, and
Yeah.
a lot of these DC stuff is shut down. So it's fun to at least have something to talk about.
But even with the strikes, James Gunn did a really great job at keeping Superman Legacy on track. Like he was like,
Yeah.
okay, the strikes are coming. I'll get a script done before the strikes, and he got a
Well,
script
he
done before the strikes, which meant that like
right.
all the non-writing and directing and acting departments could still like do bits of work on the
Yeah.
film, which was really smart. And then he was like, yeah, it's keeping that July release date. Like, don't worry, it's hitting July
Yeah.
2025, and here we are, like starting filming now. It's easily going to make July. Like,
Right.
disregarding another COVID or another strike,
Yeah.
this film's going to be done filming by end of summer. That
Right.
gives them almost an entire year to do post and VFX. Like, we're getting this in July 2025 for
Yeah.
sure. Like, that's
Yeah.
good on him for doing that. Like, whenever the
No.
film was getting delayed or running into problems, he kept Superman Legacy going.
It's so refreshing. It's
It
so
is.
refreshing when like in like an MCU era where like Fantastic Four in 5 years, Captain America 4 is stressing me out. It's giving me headaches. Everyone's
Yeah.
boycotting that movie. It's taking them 5 years to make it. Like so many things, we're cutting it in like every so way, and it's just like James Gunn is like over here being like, "Hey, we announced this movie, and now we're casting it, and now we're
Yeah, it's
filming it,
coming.
and now it's gonna come out." And it's like, but I thought you had to have all this drama, and I thought you had to have all the. Nope, you're just we're just making movies, man. Like it feels like
I
they're just
think I think
making
Gunn's a
movies
good
and having fun. Like
yeah, I think Gunn's a good choice for that because it's like he knows how to keep a film on track.
yeah,
Like regardless of writing, directing, whatever, he knows how to keep a film running and like to make sure it gets made, it hits its release date. Because I think like in terms of Guardians of the Galaxy films, only three had drama, and that was because Marvel straight up fired him. Like he couldn't
yeah,
do anything about it. So like, and then
he
once he
was
was
the
back,
drama. Yeah,
exactly, yeah. And then once he was back, like Guardians got made no problem. So like
right. Oh no, 100%.
he's done a
Yeah,
great job of keeping them going.
and it's so clear. Like we talk about a lot on here, but like, is it a project or is it a product? And like
Yeah.
James
It's like, is it
Gunn loves
content or is it a film?
right. 100% no. And James Gunn, you can tell every time he talks about like his films and like Superman, and he has such a passion for that
He
character. He
does.
has such a passion for filmmaking. He loves
Yeah.
art. He celebrates art, and I think that's exactly what we needed in a spot like this. Like they made such a good call with getting him in here. And like I know we had talked about when it was first announced, we weren't sure if James Gunn was the right guy. And I'm at a point where like I'm convinced he was the right guy now. Like I really do think that he was the right move. Now, if Superman is that film for him or not, maybe we come out of that film and be like, maybe he wasn't the right choice for Superman. I think he is the right choice for DC as a whole, though. Like I think he
Okay,
will
interesting.
nail all that kind of stuff.
I'd love to have like a proper conversation about that on a podcast or something at some point because I'm like,
Mm,
I go back and forth a lot on how I feel about Gunn so far. I
okay.
think some things I think he's doing amazingly, and other things I'm
Yeah,
like, you're doing too much, man. Like
that's
you're
fair.
writing
That's
and
fair.
directing all of these different projects. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be
Right.
leading this studio. You should be the
Right.
guy who's like, you're the director, you're the
Sure.
writer. You need to make this while I kind of make sure it gets made.
Sure.
Like, which I mean, I'm not really too worried about Superman because I think like, all right, he's doing the very first project. Okay,
Sure.
go for it. But when it gets into like doing full seasons of Waller and Peacemaker himself,
Sure.
like that doesn't leave a lot of time for him to be helping the other projects get made.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree. I would also just want to see what they look like first. Because if
Yeah,
it's all
yeah,
working and if he's okay doing it all, I could be like, well, yeah, maybe that was a lot for him, but they're all like 10 out of 10 movies
yeah.
and stuff,
They're
so
all
I
good.
can't complain. Right, right. So like,
Yeah,
and like Kevin Feige's definitely run into that similar problem where he had 30 projects going at the same time, and it was very clear he was not focusing on some and then focusing on others. So like, yeah, we have to wait and see. And like, I do think
yeah,
once he gets stuff off the ground a little bit better, he can be like, okay, I trust this filmmaker. He's going to go do this
yeah,
franchise.
for
Hey, I
sure.
trust this filmmaker. I'm going to go do this franchise. We're just in an era now where like, I need to supervise everything, make sure, because everything has to be perfect.
Yeah.
Everything. If
Oh
there's
yeah,
even
Superman
like,
needs to be peak, or it's in trouble for
100%.
the for DC.
100%, yeah. Like it needs to be one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. It needs
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
that Rotten Tomato score needs to be high. People need to be like, oh wait, why do I see this? Like why should I see this over Fantastic Four?
Yeah,
Why should I see this over your Jurassic Park? And I hate that's the mindset we have to go into this with, but it kind of is. Like it kind of is like how
yeah.
do we beat the other team in a way? So
But it's like DC's future and reputation for sure lies on Superman. I'm gonna be a
yeah,
bit dramatic here. I'm gonna say Warner Brothers Discovery as a studio is relying on Superman.
yeah,
Because if Superman is bad, the DCU is already over.
right. I
We're
agree.
not getting half the projects we're getting if Superman bombs at the box office. And I
Right.
think Warner Bros. Are completely dependent on the money that the DCU is going to bring in. So
They
if it
need to at
brings it
least
in,
make it back. I'm
they do.
so curious to see the budget because I think that budget is going to make or break this movie. And I think they
Yeah.
know that. Like I think we're going to see like a very low budget not low budget, but like a normal budget, like not
For Superman?
300 million, not even 200. I think like a
Yeah.
130.
I was going to say, yeah, I
Have
think like 130 to 150, maybe.
perfect. And they can make that back. And again, it doesn't need to make a lot of money. Like those first films don't always need to like you build off of that. Like your
Mm,
first one can just make it back, and then because and I also think like I actually think it's very smart how they're actually putting out their movies and like how it kind of has all lined up because I think from this point onward it's going to be about rebuilding the brand because we
yeah.
have Joker next, which I think it will do that. We have Penguin next, which I think it will do that. I think I think your creatures, which I'm not sure yet, but I think for the most part it will probably do that. And then we have Superman. I think all of those could be great projects to rebuild the brand. And like most people are like, oh, like you can't earn that back, but clearly you can because Marvel does that once a month.
Yeah.
Like Marvel brings back their audience once a month, where it's like,
They do.
oh, it's dead. I'm never watching this again, and they're back watching every single project, no matter what. Like
It's like, I swear to God, man, after Deadpool 3, I'll never watch another Marvel movie until
next
Captain
month,
America 4. Yeah.
right?
Once Deadpool 3's over, until Captain America 4, I'm not touching Marvel.
Right.
Just
No,
saying.
100%. It's and like I get it. I really, really do. I'm sometimes in that same spot. But no,
Yeah.
I think DC. I'm very happy with DC's future. I'm very excited. I think we went on like a tangent here, but I kind of love that. That was great.
No, for sure. I mean, it's a big DC day.
It is. It's a great day. This is such a fun day. I'm loving this.
It is. It is.
Stranger said, hopefully Melissa cameos in Superman Woman of Tomorrow. Do you think that's a possibility?
I'd like to see her play like Allura or something like that. I think that'd
Cool.
be cool.
Her
Like
parents,
Kara's
yeah.
birth mother.
Right.
I think, yeah. I think if she's going to cameo, it would be something like that. It'd be like a legacy character.
Right.
But I'd be really down for that. I think that she would play it really well, and I think doing that just shows respect to what came before, which is something that DC does normally really well, is showing respect to the versions of the characters that came before.
Mhm.
And I think, the DCU needs to start doing that. After the DCU burned a lot of bridges with other parts of DC, like to get made, I think bringing back characters from the TV shows as like legacy characters that are there
That'd be
for
great, yeah.
cameos would be a good way to be
Right.
like, we're respecting the past.
And then Supergirl did also a great job at that, at bringing in like
Yeah.
the Lois
Helen
Lanes and
Slater
like your
and Dean
previous,
Cain.
your previous Supergirl, and it's just
Yeah.
this line of like, hey, yeah, once I'm done, I can always just come back as this parent's like mentor, like this character's
Yeah.
mentor, their
Yeah.
parents, or like it's such a fun thing that you can like look forward to, which I think could be kind of fun. But
It also just makes sense for the multiverse. It's like, well, of
yeah,
course, Melissa would look like Kara's mother in the multiverse, like because it's Supergirl.
Of course, yeah. Perfect casting. Perfect
Yeah.
casting. 10 10. Alrighty. So we're gonna be jumping in. The reason we came
Oh,
here,
damn,
ladies
it's
and
happening.
gentlemen.
It's happening.
It's happening. We're doing the things.
You want wait? You want to touch the Stephen Amell thing really quick, or you want to leave it?
Ooh, go ahead. Yeah, lead it.
I was just like, did you see the stuff he was saying
I
about
saw
like the
the
James Gunn?
video. Yeah, that idiot.
It's a bit of it's not a great look, but I will say right that part of me does somewhat agree with his bit about saying that DC needs to announce less and just release more, because it's like that's been DC's problem in the past. Like, remember Comic-Con 2017 or 2018? No, it was before that. It was like Comic-Con 2014 when they announced all these projects with like Justice League 1, Justice League 2, Cyborg, Green Lantern Corps, all these films that never got made.
None of it.
I'm so worried that DC was exactly like that, where they think they're going to be super big, so they're announcing all these projects, but then they start underperforming critically and financially to the point where half of them don't get made, and then it looks the same, where it's like, you didn't need to announce all this stuff if it wasn't going to get made. So I get where Steven's coming from on that factor, but also maybe he shouldn't have spoke about this.
Oh, sure. Like, he comes across as such a whine baby. Like,
he does a little bit.
I've said this for years now. I don't think he was done playing that character. I don't think he wanted to be done.
I think he was at the time. Yeah, he wanted a break. You gave him a year break, he would have come back. If COVID stopped Arrow, he would have come back. Because like he would have had his break because of COVID, and then after that was done, he would have been like, "Oh, you know what? Actually, I don't want to leave anymore."
Right. He like very clearly just wanted a vacation to spend time with his family a little bit, and then he clearly just wanted to be back. Like he's like, I would have done another season. I wanted to do more. And to be fair, I actually think he will at some point. Like, I think that they will do like an Arrow film or something where he comes back one last time, or not anytime soon. I don't like. I'm thinking like 10 years. In like 10 years, he'll do that where it's like, oh yeah, I grew up on Arrow. This is cool, you know. Like, once he doesn't have a job anymore, and after Suits season 25 and that's over, he's like, all right, I'm back at it, guys. Like, which I can't believe he's on Suits now. I can't believe he pulled that. Like,
him and who's the other? Oh yeah, and Eugene from Walking Dead. The two.
Yeah. I don't know how he pulled that off. Like, he pissed off so many people, and he's just like, I'm back.
Here I am
Which,
again.
I mean, good on him, you know, but craziness.
Yeah.
And Suits is popular. Like, Suits blew up.
The OG is a huge show.
Yeah.
It's crazy popular.
Yeah. I think I am gonna have a hard time looking at him like a lawyer, though. Like that feels like a very different casting, which is good.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I would imagine you want to play very different characters. Like,
don't want to get
Oliver Queen, right? Like, Steve, like you're like Queen, and then your Heels, which I didn't watch, but that also felt like a very different character.
Heels was very different.
One. And then you have like Casey Jones, which was just your kind of same character, but like now you're like a lawyer, and it's like, oh yeah, these are very different roles for him. So that's good, I guess. I might watch it. I'm not sure. We'll see.
I might watch it just for him.
I might watch the first episode, and if I'm like, you know what, like, that's not typically like my type of show, but like I might just commit and watch it.
I'm gonna go in and be like, this is just gonna be Better Call Saul with Oliver Queen. There you go. Better Call Oliver.
We never wanted. But yeah, okay. So how would we continue the Arrowverse? So, a couple.
Wait, we're doing it on the Arrowverse.
Oh yeah.
I might have done mine on.
Oh.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. Oh gosh.
5 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Ah, gosh damn it. We got to do this whole stream over again.
Oops.
Which actually would be a very fun video, actually. Like, I don't know if I could come up with 5, but like, what would we have done after S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah, it's like in general, how we continue the story.
Yeah, that actually
be fun.
Oh, that's a great backdoor pilot. Connor, great idea.
All right, we're doing it. We can do this in a series where it's like every month we do just like a 2-hour video on some TV show or movie franchise or something that we would continue.
Oh yeah, there's your MCU that like you could do, or like I've had ideas of like, how would I fix the Flash? I'm pitching how I'd go through and change things and like stuff like that. I could think would be a lot of fun. But no, we're here to talk about how we would continue the Arrowverse. Now, I did put down a couple of ground rules with it, and like I think just the main rule I had was like, hey, we can't do a Batman show or like a direct Batman movie.
Bruce Wayne's gone.
We can use Bruce Wayne, but we can't use the Batman. Like you can't be like Batman coming to the CW, because I think that's kind of lazy. I think that's
Mine
very
is
like
season 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
oh,
So
fun. But yeah, here we had no budget. We could bring back any cast member. We can kind of do really whatever we want as long as make a Batman show. Just kind of have fun with it. We have billions of dollars, so we can have all the special effects. Right. I have bought the CW. I'm a billionaire. It's great.
You buy Nextstar or just the CW?
I bought the planet, so I kind of
okay.
do whatever
you
I
bought
want.
The Daily Planet?
Damn. No, just whole planet, just a whole thing.
Wow. Which planet? Yeah, like this planet?
All the planets actually, just all of them in a row.
All the planets. Interesting.
My power is I'm rich, so I had to spend money.
I'm rich. Respect it.
Yeah, Connor, we're gonna start with you. So, kind of going into it,
what
was kind of your mindset, kind of jumping into this? Like, what was your kind of state of mind, kind of going into this entire thing?
So, I did start out being like, all right, 4 to 5 individual separate projects, TV shows mostly, and I was like, what am I going to do here? So like my first thought was like Arrowverse, the next generation, and it was like the future characters pretty much. It was like Mia, Nora, Bart, all of them in the future, cool. Kind of dealing with the whole William mystery. Essentially, like it would be Green Arrow and the Canaries, but if you took, future descendants of all the other Arrowverse shows and put them in there as well. Right. So like it's the same setting. It's a lot of the same mysteries, but just with a bigger cast. Another one I was thinking of was instead of Legends of Tomorrow, just DC's Legends, because Legends of Tomorrow is based on the Legends comic book. So sure. I was thinking like for Legends, it'd be very much in the more anthology style that the show was originally going to be, but also it wasn't time travel anymore. The Wave Rider now is multiversal. Is a multiversal ship. So I was like, it's going to go through different Earths instead. Because that's something I always thought. I was like, they should at some point do that where the Wave Rider is like going through multiverse more stuff.
Yeah. After Crisis, that would have been so good.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the
would have been such a good follow-up. Or even prior to Crisis, like getting ready to Crisis, like going around to different planets and like doing like we have to get this thing prior to Crisis coming, or we can't do the Crisis. And we're like, all right, we're gonna go here, and they get lost here, and there's Barry Allen from Earth 50. Oh, just kind of do that. Like would have been a really fun setup for that show.
For sure. Event. But then like I was thinking about it a bit more, and I was kind of going, well, is this what I would want to see? If the Arrowverse continued right now, is this what I personally would be like? Mm-hmm. This is great. If I had unlimited resources and could continue the Arrowverse any way I wanted, I was like, what realistically would I like? And I'm thinking about a few years ago when Crisis on Infinite Earths happened, and Crisis on Infinite Earths ended with Oliver and Felicity up in that pocket dimension. Sure. My first thought went to Infinite Crisis, because my favorite era of DC in the comics is Infinite Crisis from the early 2000s. And like the way that is dealt with is like there's a pocket dimension that has the original Superman, the original Lois Lane that survived Crisis on Infinite Earths. Now they're getting out of their pocket dimension. They're coming back down to Earth Prime. And I was like, oh, so that's what the Arrowverse is going to build to. If they have Oliver and Felicity up there after Crisis on Infinite Earths, eventually they're going to do Infinite Crisis and bring them back.
That's so funny that you say that.
But then they never did.
You said that same exact thing in our last pitch video. You had talked about.
Did I actually?
You said that same conversation about like this is how I thought Crisis was going to go, and they were going to do the Infinite Crisis. Like, I just had the biggest deja vu. I just had the biggest like, holy shit! Life is a circle.
That's like, there you go. This did not change at all. It's like it's the same pitch, actually, exactly the same.
Oh my gosh, that whole episode was so weird because like the stuff that aged. Like we had said that Secret Invasion was going to save Marvel. Like we had said that was going to be the biggest. That was going to bring people back, and it was going to be the biggest event. And it was like, us little sweet children. We were so innocent and sweet.
I was like, it's Andor for Star Wars. It'll be great. Oof.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to lay off.
No, you're good.
But That was funny.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of just like it anyway. I kind of like I took a lot of like what I wanted the Arrowverse to be
Hell
eventually
yeah.
and kind of just merged them into one thing. So I went from going, do I want 5 individual projects or do I want
Mm,
a TV show that is essentially the culmination of the entire Arrowverse and brings everything together. And it's like
mm.
the way I went into it was I want a TV show that feels like a very cinematic, big budget HBO style show where it's a huge ensemble and characters are mostly separate and stories are mostly separate, but eventually they all start coming together
Okay.
and like intertwining. Um, so I combined a bunch of different ideas and I kind of went with that.
All right. Well, let's jump right into your first pitch then.
Okay, messy. Um, so yeah, so like what I guess the background is based on is after Infinite Crisis, DC did this year-long comic book run called 52, and it was 52 issues, one a week for an entire year to cover an entire year of what certain characters were doing in the aftermath of Infinite Crisis. Um, and I kind of took that idea and was like, this is what I would want the TV show to be. Is I would want it to take that format, so it's like 5 seasons covering a year total. So
Okay.
like the first season is 10 episodes, and it's weeks 1 to 10 of what's going on, and it starts 3 years after Flash season 9 ended. So this will be 6 years after Crisis on Infinite Earths then.
Okay.
Um, and another thing about 52 was the end of Infinite Crisis. Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman left. They like disappeared for a year. So I was kind of taking that idea of 2 years before. Sorry, what's I say 2 years or 1 year for before this first season? I wrote it down because I was like, it's important.
I think you said 3 years.
It's 3 years after Flash season 9 ended, but
Okay.
then it's 3 years after Flash season 9 ended, and then where did I write it? 1 second. Okay, so 3 years after Flash season 9 ended, then 2 years after Flash season 9 ended, so 1 year before the season starts, all the Justice Leaguers go missing. So
Whoa.
Barry Allen, Jefferson Pierce, Kara, Clark,
No.
Ryan, and Jean, they all go missing. Sarah was already missing because the Legends were in prison. So nobody goes looking for the Legends because they assume they went missing with the rest of the league.
No.
Yeah, so the Legends are stuck in prison because everybody just assumed whatever took the Justice League also took the Legends. So they just all assume it's all connected when it isn't.
Okay.
But that one thing as well I want to go into this I want to do was I love when an ending has a proper ending. So I didn't really want to touch Arrow or Arrow characters too much, at least for most of the first 4 seasons. I was like, I would like to keep Stephen Amell, most of the Arrow cast, completely away from this until towards the very end when it feels like they're needed. So until then, it's like we're not touching their ending. We're focusing on the shows that either ended in a way that their stories could continue, or were just straight up cancelled. Which is why like the Justice Leaguers gone, or like Supergirl, Flash, which end in a very the story continues way. Batwoman, Legends of Tomorrow, Black Lightning, which were pretty much all cancelled. But the idea is that the two people who are still searching for the league, everyone's pretty much given up on them, been like, we don't know what's gone. They've been gone for a year. It's crazy. We can't get in touch with anybody who knows. The only people who are still kind of investigating this are John Constantine and Iris West, and they're both looking together. They're both like completely
That's an
investigating
interesting
this.
combo. I kind of
It
love
is,
that.
yeah.
I
So,
cannot
'cause it's
think of
like,
two differently styled
yeah,
characters.
because I was thinking like a journalist and somebody who's very much like a detective noir style character,
Sure.
and I feel like they both go together pretty well for that. So I like the way I would envision the opening scene of the season is it's like this montage of different TV channels. It's like Daily Planet News. It's been 1 year since Superman went missing. Then like cut to Central City. It's like Central CCN. It's 1 year since Star City or since Star Labs was reopened, and there's riots blaming them for the disappearance of the Scarlet Speedsters. And then like we kind of like pan out from the TV, and then a beer bottle hits it, and it's like John Constantine being like, "Shut the hell up." And then we see like a crazy
Bloody
wall.
hell.
Yeah, literally, it's like, you bollocks, get out of here. Then we cut to like a wall that has loads of like pictures and stuff on it of various heroes, and it's like little
Aw.
like red tape connecting them all. Then Iris shows up and she's like, "You're supposed to meet me this morning. Do you have anything?" And they start investigating the whole thing. So I haven't gone too much into the overall story. I just kind of like know the basics of how everything will play out. But then for the rest of the season, generally, what I'm thinking is no one knows what happened to any of the heroes yet. The legends have been in prison the whole time. They've been trying to send messages out to Barry or Diggle or anybody they can get in touch with. No luck. Ray is the only person who actually went looking for the legends, and he ended up getting arrested and taken to prison as well, which people think Ray is also missing with the rest of the Justice League, when in actuality he went looking for the legends right before the League went missing, and he got arrested right as the League were taken. So everybody just thinks it's all connected. But then over like the 3 years, Ray's slowly been kind of getting little pieces of tech inside the prison, using it, kind of bringing it to certain things. And I don't know, sciencey stuff. Think if I had a year to write it, I'd come up with some actual solution. But he gets loads of random bits of tech, puts it together, makes kind of a tiny atom weapon or whatever, and he uses that to get the legends out of prison. So then they escape, big prison escape, which is, I'm sure it'll be very exciting, the big prison escape. But exactly, while all of this is happening, we're having a side story set in the future with Mia, Nora, and Bart looking for William. And then the overall season ends with an English accent being heard, kind of echoing from nowhere and everywhere all at once. Iris is the only person who can hear it. She's like, "Who is that? What's going on?" And then like the last scene of the season is a portal opening up, and a really bearded Rip Hunter falls out. And he starts yelling. He's like, "You've only got a year. You've only got a year." And Iris is like, "What are you talking about?" And Rip's like, "I know what happened to the heroes, and in a year everything's gonna end. We've got to help each other." And then that's how the season ends.
I want season 2. Give me season 2. I definitely really love that. You definitely are like capturing the like tone of like a full on crossover event.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I want it to feel like a crossover for an entire show.
That sounds very sick. I would definitely put my money into a project like this.
Okay, sweet. Please do. Fund it.
Let's do it. Bring back all these actors that probably do not want to come back.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, Stephen Amell wants to come back, but unfortunately, I don't have a role for him. So.
Well, I mean, let's just have him play every character.
Oh yeah, perfect. He'll play Rip. He'll play Constantine. He'll play Ray. It'd be great. He'll play
him
Iris.
as Iris would be hilarious. I'd love to see that. All right. So my first project. So I mean, I guess I should kind of give like a prep of kind of what my mindset is.
For sure.
In my mind, this is like in my mind, like they were like, "Hey, canceling all these shows was a mistake. You gotta rebuild all this from the ground up." And this is me being like, "All right, you have full control. You can just do whatever you want." And I went about this in a very like MCU-ish type way, because I felt like that was just the easiest way in my mind to be like, this is kind of our next slate of everything that's coming out. I'm starting kind of smaller and kind of building my way up. So what was the first like I was like, all right, how do I want to start this? Like, what's my what are people's reintroductions of the Arrowverse to be? And I was like, I could do something with Arrow. Everyone knows Arrow. That's how it all started the first time. I could do that again if I wanted to. But in my opinion, the face of the Arrowverse did definitely turn into the Flash. And I did think if I was going to reintroduce everything, I did think it was smart to make the Flash the new kind of the like restarting point to everything. But when I was trying to think about this, I was like, what do I want to do with the Flash that either hasn't been done, hasn't been like retreaded? What is the storyline that I want to tell? And what was left for Barry Allen, I think, needed to be told. And I think the one main storyline that I think I kept saying was I wanted a certain crossover. So I have the Flash Legacy of Worlds. So this project, and I think this is the one I've kind of thought about the most. Like there's some where like, hey, I just want to do this thing. I didn't think too much about it. But the Flash Legacy of Worlds is kind of it is a crossover with the Flash and Stargirl. And like I imagine this as a kind of a movie. So this takes place a couple months after the Flash ended. He's now given these new speedsters. He's created these 3 new speedsters that are going around, and he started this next generation of heroes. But he has Nora now. He doesn't quite know what he's doing, and he's feeling very weary about training these new speedsters. He did this thing, he wants them out there, but now that Nora's here, he's feeling very nervous about what he's going to do about teaching his daughter someday. Like, he knows this is going to be a new hero, and he's projecting that onto these new speedsters. And after months of them kind of off doing their own thing, he finally is like, fine, I will train you. Like, they've been asking for months, hey, you gave us the speed, we know it's you, now you need to train us. And he's finally like, okay, fine, I will help you. But he gets nervous, and he asks Jay Garrick to help him train these new speedsters, because he doesn't feel like he doesn't feel like he's worthy of doing so. He's like, I'll get the person to help me be the speedster that I am now. And Jay Garrick, he's kind of being like, kid, you don't need me. Like, you are a better Flash than I could ever be. Like, you did all these amazing things. I don't think you need me. But he's like, fine, I will help you do this. I will help you do this. So they go off and they train. And let me just say, this is going to be 5 speedsters training at the same time. Like, there's a lot of energy going around. There's a lot of science mumbo jumbo. And while they're all training, and Barry messes up training them because he's so nervous, and he's in his head about like messing up these new speedsters. Like, am I going to make them a villain? Am I going to fail them? Are they going to fail because of what I taught them? And after all this stuff, there's like everyone's like running around, and a portal opens up. They accidentally opened a portal, and awaits Courtney and Pat on Earth 2, and they're just like, what the hell? Like what did we do? And that's kind of the overall, like, it's very kind of basic in its introduction to like everything, but I think I wanted a very, like, I wanted to kind of start with a fun crossover-y type thing, because I think that's what the Arrowverse does best.
Get back to it.
And but also kind of very simple, so it's not like Justice League and multiverse, a big, all the villains from all our past or whatever. And it is a kind of a very simple story of villains from her Earth coming through, and our kind of main heroes here, Barry, Jay, Courtney, and Pat, having to take them out. This is a story Barry learns through working with Courtney, another young upcoming hero, that he has everything in his responsibility. He has everything in his toolkit to train these new speedsters, and he 100% has everything he's going to need to train Nora, to be a good father to Nora. And I think the kind of the main takeaway I wanted to do this is I wanted us, the audience, but also Barry himself, to realize, and this is something that I think Eric Wallace tried to do for like many years, is he is the Flash. He is that legacy hero that we know he's going to be someday, that I feel like we don't actually see, right? This is Barry realizing that he doesn't necessarily need a team anymore. They're still there. You have like your Chester there. You have your Iris inside the background, that he is finally that hero, and he has earned that title. And I don't know who the villain would be. It'd be like some JSA villain, as like your main villain has come through. Maybe someone from the past seasons or something.
Back.
Oh, cool. Yeah, something. And it's this real bonding moment with these characters, and obviously Jay Garrick is here, and Jay knows Pat, and like I'll say that like that's the same Jay Garrick from the past, so like you have some fun back and forth. So like I would assume like throughout this movie, Jay Garrick and Pat would go off on their own separate mission, and then it's Barry and your Courtney working together. He sees her as his almost daughter, as this Nora figure in his life. And obviously we end the movie with him being like, they obviously go back home, but like, hey, here's a card, like here's a way back through, just in case maybe you ever want to team up and, do some fun stuff inside the future, team up with our team. And then I kind of like the idea of, I kind of like the idea of like ending the movie, or like ending the event with like Oliver or Barry calling Kara and being like, yo, I trained this kid through, like, the multiverse has opened up again because of what Oliver did for us. This was possible for what he did for us, and kind of like starting this new branch of like movies and stuff with, I think, kind of your core 3 main, obviously your Barry, your Kara, and then Oliver that isn't there in spirit, if you will. Which I think could be kind of cool, kind of just a fun way to jet start this entire new set of stuff, I guess.
Cool, I really like that. It's like,
now,
that's so fleshed out. Like, there's so much to that.
Right. I mean, I think that's the one I thought about the most. Like, like a lot of these other ones, like, hey, that's what I would do next, and that's kind of the end of
Yeah,
it. But
sure.
no, and like when I think about like all through the final season, I was thinking, okay, if there was a season 10, what would I do with it? And the one thing I kept seeing is I just want Stargirl and Flash. Like that's really
Yeah,
the
yeah.
only thing I want
They would
left
work
from
so
the
well
Flash.
together.
100%. Yeah. And yeah, I mean Flash in my universe, I do think going forward he would kind of take a step back. Like he would kind of the like Flash story as you know it is kind of over. He's there, like he's in the background. He'll show up for their crossover events and the crossover movies and stuff, but he's not the main character that we're focusing on now. We're going to start focusing on some of these new characters, some of these new
Yeah.
ideas and stuff. And then he's there as well if you need him, if you want him to show up for stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's my first project.
Cool. I like that a lot.
Thank you, I appreciate it. All right, do you want to
I
move on to? Sorry,
sure, yeah.
go ahead.
No, it was good.
Red Arrow said, how is Earbard going to fuck with this one? I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe Eobard is in all of them. Maybe he's in every project. Maybe
Oh,
he is Barry here. Maybe he's wearing Barry's face.
maybe.
Just
We'll see.
think about that when you're writing it. Just a little suggestion.
Sure. All right.
Okay.
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2. I should probably mention that like I don't talk about the teams a lot, like the teams behind Flash, teams behind Batwoman, teams behind Arrow a lot in these pitches or these chapters, and there's a lot of like lingering story threads that obviously Batwoman legends and stuff left over that I don't touch on. But if I had
Okay.
the opportunity to write the whole thing, I definitely would. Like I'd bring in the teams fully, properly. I'd bring in those storylines. Whereas like this is just kind of bare bones what I would want, that project
Yeah.
to be. But for this one, I'm thinking it's like kind of the secret invasion I wish we got in a way. Where it's like combination of that, combination a little bit of the Agents of Shield LMD arc, but some spins on it to make it different, to make it its own thing. But the thing is, so my idea would be like for these chapters, I don't think they'd hold for full seasons on their own. I think there'd need to be a lot of extra material to make these work
Right.
for an entire season.
Filler.
Exactly, yeah, but not even fair. Like I think like the way I have this makes it seem like these characters, the actual Justice Leaguers, like Flash, Clark, Kara, all of them don't show up until season 2. Like you don't see them at all in season 1, and then season 2 we're kind of catching up with what's been going on with them. I don't think that's fair to an audience to make them wait that long to see these characters. So like in a realistic version of this getting made, this would probably be like the second part of the first season rather than its own whole season or something like that. Like you wouldn't want to bring people back for an Arrowverse continuation and then have them not have all the main characters for a whole season. Like that'd be whack. But the general idea for this one would be let me scroll down so I get like my notes on it. Okay, yeah, so I don't have too much on that. I think like I didn't put too much for season 2 or season 3, but then I put loads for season 4 and season 5. But general idea is like this is kind of the season that really delves into the villain. And I was thinking like the villain of who's behind all this, who's masterminding everything that's going on. There'd also be some lingering effects of the legends being in prison for 3 years. Like none of them are really the same people they were. A lot of them are kind of a little bit messed up from it. Some of them are maybe darker than they were. Some of them are, PTSD, stuff like that. There's also going to be effects of like the time cops coming after them. Like they're not just going to let the legends escape. So that's going to kind of be a lingering thing. And the legends get back and kind of it's like you have your scenes with Iris and Constantine and anyone from Team Arrow or Team Flash or Team Batwoman who are like, where are the Justice League? Like what happened to Ryan? What happened to Barry? What happened to Kara? Sort of thing. Like maybe Alex from Supergirl is probably involved at this point as well, probably. And the legends are like, what are you talking about? Like, we don't know where the Justice League are. Like, we were in prison for the last 3 years and nobody came for us except for Ray. Like, we tried getting in touch with Barry, Diggle, Kara. Nobody came for us. Like, what was going on? And, they're like, well, the Justice League have been gone since you guys were gone. Like, we thought they were with you. And Legend's like, nope. So then we start digging into the villain, who's behind all this. And I was kind of thinking, who would I make the villain? And for a while, I was thinking, like, a character that was kind of done dirty by the Arrowverse, somebody to make it personal stakes. Like not somebody who like has absolutely no relation to the heroes or what's going on. So I was like, for a while I was going, what about Cicada? What if I brought Cicada back and like if I had the chance to write them properly? But I was like, no, I don't know how I'd do that. So instead, for the villain, I went with
People
the
would be
idea
so
that
mad at you if you did that.
people would hate it.
I cannot imagine just like from a press point of view being like the Arrowverse is coming back for
Cicada,
one
yeah.
last time, and the
Two
villain is
cicadas teaming up.
Cicada. That is so funny.
And that's the thing, I didn't want to disappoint the fans, so I was like, all right, I'll leave that alone. So then what I went to was a villain that is completely new, like a new character, like not related to the comics, which I should also say, for this whole thing, I decided not to like bring in new DC superheroes and new DC characters. I was like, the Arrowverse is established and built.
Okay.
I'll just stick with what we have. So like no Green Lanterns, no Batman's properly. Doesn't like that. But for this, I was like, a villain who is somewhat tied to an event in the Arrowverse's past. So I brought it that this is one of the only people outside of the heroes. This is the only person outside of the heroes that remembers Crisis on Infinite Earths. And they think of themselves as a survivor of Crisis on Infinite Earths. And they had the greatest life ever before Crisis. And as soon as the new world was made, their life turned to shit. They have got nothing anymore. And they want to do anything they can to get their old life back, to get their old world back. So their plan is to collapse the multiverse in the hopes that destroying the current multiverse will restore the old multiverse. They don't have any rationale for thinking this will work. It's all they've got. So, but their idea is Earth Prime's heroes are the ones who were pretty much central in the last crisis. They're not going to be able to destroy the multiverse if they're in the way. So they capture the heroes, and the only way they know that they can destroy all the heroes on Earth Prime is if they turn them against each other. So they say they replace 2 heroes and send everybody back, and are like, okay, you guys don't know which one of you is working for me. It's like, you're just gonna have to fight each other and find out. And he doesn't tell them this. He tricks them into, somebody gives them that information that they don't know is related to the villain. But the twist is all the heroes have been replaced, but nobody knows who's been replaced.
Oh my god!
So everybody who's sent back is a clone or a copy or an evil whatever made by the villain, but everybody thinks that they're a normal hero. So when they get back, it causes this huge kind of situation where some of the heroes are like, I think you're not who you say you are. And they're like, I am who I say I am. And that's the whole thing. And the end of the season is like kind of the trick that the legends are like, we're the only people we can trust because we all know exactly where we were for the last 3 years. We just came back to an Earth where everybody is saying that they don't trust everybody else. We're getting out of here. So the legends hop on the Wave Rider, which is like derelict. This has been sitting there for 3 years, and they're like, okay, we're going to go find help. We'll be back. And the legends get on the Wave Rider and they dip. Just the legends who are in prison, nobody else. So they don't take John, they don't take Diggle, they don't take Iris. It's just Ray and the ones who are in prison.
Oh yeah.
That's season 2.
I would definitely. That's very fitting for like Legends. Like that's very kind of like Crisis on Earth X, where like no one expects them to be the one to like save the day, but like they were the only ones that weren't at the wedding, so they have to be the ones to save them here.
Yeah.
No, that's a lot of fun. Very Secret Invasion, and I love Secret Invasion as a concept. Like that's always very fun to see. Oh, we can't trust each other, so we can't work together. So it's very cool. I like that a lot. This whole thing kind of reminds me of the final film in like the DC AMU, where kind of the world's kind of gone to shit a little bit, and they're like, we don't know how to get back to where we were.
Yeah. Like, what are we gonna do?
Right. Very hype and very dark for like your Legends as well. They're like,
it
can't be fun anymore.
This is serious. Like I want to go real serious with it. Like we can't just be goofing around. We've got to actually save people.
How do you think? Like, if I'm allowed to ask questions about it, like, how do you think
Go for it.
For the characters that have been locked up in prison for 3 years, like, how do you think that they were affected? Like, do you think Sarah feels different now that she's been locked up and put away for 3 whole years?
I think all of them feel pretty different. I think there was a lot of like the characters being split up, put in isolation for months at a time on their own, because they kept trying to like escape, or they kept trying to like help people in the prison, and the time cops were like, no, like you gotta stop doing that. Like, you're not vigilantes in here, you're prisoners, you're here for a reason. Like, and they start so because of that, like they all feel pretty there's a sense that they all feel a little bit more like they have to be alone, but at the same time they feel like the only real family they have are people who were taken on the Wave Rider. Like the people who were put in prison are the only people that like are still there for them. And then coming back to an Earth where all the heroes are like gone. Plus, there's a sense that they were betrayed by the Justice League originally because they were like, they never came looking for us. They never found us, and they're like, why should we care about them? Sort of thing.
Right.
It's definitely a very kind of resentful Legends.
Right. Second question, follow up.
Okay.
In this world, is Sarah still pregnant or no?
I forgot about that. That will be followed up on in the show, of course.
Okay.
For the basis of this, yes, it would be followed up on.
I keep forgetting about that, and that
I
makes the ending so much more
line.
fucked up. The way it ended, being like, yeah, she's pregnant in prison. Like, do they take away the baby? Like what do they do with it?
I would say her and Ava did something to hide the baby.
Oh,
and
it's like a little ninja.
Yeah,
just like
she's like hiding the rafters.
Or like
I would say they found a way to send
where like we have to send you away, and they send it to Earth or something.
Yeah, it's like send it from Krypton.
Right.
Yeah, I would say like she's out there. Or the baby. Yeah,
she saved the day. I also kind of wanted to give you a not like a real pitch, but a funny pitch of like who your villain like could be. It could be Baby Sarah. It could be Baby Sarah. That got erased during the OG.
After Flashpoint. I was thinking that. No, I was thinking that. That was one of my thoughts. I was like, if I want this to connect and be personal, like, is it Baby Sarah? And I was like, you know what? Go Crisis Infinite Earths. If I want this to feel like Infinite Crisis, I want to make it like a sequel to the OG Crisis. Which this is like the actual storylines here, and nothing to do with Infinite Crisis. But like, I wanted to go with that idea of this is a sequel to Crisis Infinite Earths.
Mm-hmm. I always thought that like that would have been the most hilarious villain for a season, just like a Flash season, like a future version of Sarah that Barry killed. It comes back and be like, "You killed me, you idiot," or even like your like Green Arrow, right? Because like I definitely think that like she would have been a villain of that show if like if it gone on, because we hadn't seen Sarah. I don't think like during the future stuff.
No,
I don't think that she ever appeared. So I definitely think they were saving her for like a secret villain or whatever.
I think so as well. Yeah. I mean, that was the original like theory I remember was that like Sarah was who messed with William or who took William at the end of Arrow.
100%.
Yeah, people were saying that. Yeah,
100%. Alrighty, going on to my third one. So I should say like that first project, and like I felt very bad about the Flash being my first project in there, where like Flash had, if you liked it or not, a proper ending, where a lot of these other shows did not. But I did kind of want to start my universe kind of very just solid, like a very kind of standard, and then we could start fixing things. And like my whole pitch for all these are like, I'm trying to fix what the studio and what the people be behind the things messed up. Like I would say I'm trying to fix the like reputation of the Arrowverse and try to clean things up a little bit. So my next one, and kind of, I danced around like the whole Batman thing. I said, okay, no Batman. I don't want to do Batman. But
my next project is Gotham Knights and Batwoman.
Whoa, Batwoman, Gotham Knights. So obviously not the Gotham Knights, not like the CW Gotham Knights. No. But like throughout all of Gotham Knights, I thought like, hey, I actually really like that show. I don't think it's amazing or anything, but I actually thought it's much better than people give it credit for. I actually think they really fell into their own, like in that back half. I thought they were actually putting out some solid stuff. But the whole season, I was like, I think this story would be a lot better if it was on Batwoman, or if it had some actual DC characters in suits that could tell this storyline. And that's probably where I would have taken season 4 of Batwoman, or in this case, like a movie. And I think, Batman and Bruce Wayne isn't necessarily something high on my bucket list, but I think when I am looking at the entire Arrowverse, when I am thinking, what are the biggest unanswered questions and mysteries and ideas from the Arrowverse, and I would say very high on most people's lists, is where's Bruce Wayne? What happened to Bruce Wayne? We had 3 seasons of the show, the entire pilot. That pilot is probably very hard to go back and rewatch, because the big question that they introduce is, hey, where did Bruce Wayne go? Hey, Kate, went off to go find Bruce Wayne. Where is she? Where is Bruce? What is that entire story? And I do think we are following and again, I don't have too many thoughts on this just as a whole, as like I don't have like too many ideas, just kind of the general idea is that I want to have a very like Bat Family styled show where we have Luke, we have Ryan, we have Kate, we have some of these other smaller characters that I think Sophie, we got Sophie Brown, we had in
Stephanie
season
Brown.
2. Stephanie Brown, yeah, I'd have her suit up, and it's like a full-on, almost Bat Family TV show. And the full focus of the season is finally finding Bruce Wayne. Like maybe we open the season and Kate's like, I found him. I found him, but I can't do this by myself. I need help. And that's kind of the overarching mystery is going in. And I would do the Court of Owls again, because I think they would have been very fascinating to see in like the Batwoman world and see maybe a bigger threat now that we have all of these things and like the mystery of like, hey, they have Bruce Wayne. Hey, we got him. We had to go through him. We had to no one in Gotham. Like we don't know where some of these other Gotham characters are. Like there's a lot of characters in Gotham that like are just missing. We have no idea where they are. Like where's Gordon? Where's Alfred?
Yeah.
Where are all these characters? And it's a mystery kind of slowly figuring what happened prior to the show going on. What happened to Bruce Wayne? How did they get him? And that's kind of like just like your general story of the season. I think kind of, and like Batwoman, Ryan is one of what I think should be one of the main players in the Arrowverse. So this isn't me trying to wrap up Batwoman, but this is me trying to tie up a loose end on this era of the show, this era. And maybe even going forward, you could be like, okay, now like Batwoman's over and now we're doing the like Bat Family show or a Bat Family movie going forward or something like that. And that's your kind of, not with Batman, of course, because I know like that was against the rules, but with like maybe everyone else. And maybe like Bruce Wayne ends up being like, you guys got this. I got to go find myself again because I've been locked up for 20 years or whatever. Like maybe he can appear in crossovers or something down the line or whatever. But like, I do think it was very important that we tie things up here. Bruce Wayne is back. We have a whole city of Gotham. Gotham is at probably its most powerful now because we have like 4 different people protecting it. If you want, maybe you can have some cameos from like maybe like a Supergirl cameo in here. Maybe they're like, hey, we need to break into this place, but we don't have the firepower car. Can you come in here and skip this guy and like go home or something? That'd be kind of cool. So yeah, that's my second pitch. Bruce Wayne's back. Batwoman back. That's my
no, I like that a lot. It's like following up on a lot of the mysteries, like not the storylines from Batwoman, but the mysteries from Batwoman that people really wanted to see for a while. So I think it's definitely pretty needed to like dig into that and to really kind of deal with, well, where do you go from there? Because surely at some point they were going to do that in the show. I've got to imagine they would have.
I would hope so. I would hope so because then you have like a Naomi thing where like they clearly had no intentions of ever using Superman. They just wanted to do it to bring people in.
Dangle in front of people.
Yeah, I don't know. And that Warren Christie, it's so frustrating because I actually think he would have been a phenomenal Batman.
He was pretty good with the what we saw him.
Yeah, I thought that casting was incredible. Like I think he could have really fit that role. And again, they would have never allowed a proper Batman, but it would have been cool to see like Bruce Wayne, just Bruce Wayne show up and he's like, all right, I got to go now. I mean, Titans got him. I don't understand why Bruce Wayne or why this show couldn't have got him. Like, I feel like
because Titans is so much better quality wise than the Arrowverse.
Oh, totally. Everyone loves that Batman. That's everyone's favorite Batman.
It's my personal favorite. My first favorite Bruce Wayne that appeared on a DC Universe show. So.
Harley Quinn, right? That's your favorite?
My favorite Bruce Wayne that appeared on a DC Universe show that is called Titans. So
you're like, that was the only one. Oh shit, no, it wasn't. Well, Young Justice, right?
I was like, he wasn't in Doom Patrol or Stargirl, right? Or Swamp Thing. No. And
Young
Justice season 3.
Young Justice, Harley Quinn, Titans.
Damn, he got me. But no, I really like that. I think it's good to follow up. And I think putting Ryan kind of like right in the center of all that is good as well. Kind of builds on her character a lot.
Yeah, and like I would also probably try because like I didn't really think too much of like arcs of characters or anything like that. But like I probably would have her in a place where like she is now leading all these other heroes, and now it's like I'm about to bring Batman back. What does that mean for me? Like what does that mean for my city and my role in this city? Do I
like am I needed anymore? Sort of thing?
Right. Yeah, that like that, and like we kind of tie into that with Kate's role in like season 2, but I feel like you could push that maybe further, where like she has obviously she's going to help Bruce Wayne, that's what she does, but she's going through a lot in her head of well, like who am I now? Because like this changed my life. This made me who I am today. Like I got my mom back now, and everything's different. And so like I definitely think you can have some fun stuff there.
Which I feel like that's a legitimate worry for Ryan, because I feel like with Kate,
Yeah.
it makes sense for Kate to go rediscover herself and all that. Bruce comes back. I think he's clinging to his city, like he's clinging to Batman, sort of thing.
Right.
So I think like for Ryan to be like, Batman's not going to go away. Am I needed anymore? Is a legitimate concern.
Yeah, and like he's probably like, I don't know these people. You guys all have to get out of my cave. Like get the fuck out. Like I don't know.
Like, look, I don't work with people. Like get out of here.
Right. No,
unless you're Robin, get out.
Which where's the Robins? Did you have a Robin in this world? I don't
Stephanie Brown, and that's it. And I don't think she was actually Robin or anything.
I don't think they've ever done any like confirmations of like a Dick Grayson or anything, right? I don't think that they ever did that.
I think they made a few references to Nightwing over the not in Batwoman, but in a few of the other shows. I'm pretty sure they did.
Sure. Okay. Interesting. I mean, sure. If you want to, if I have the money, bring in like a Dick Grayson for an episode or something.
Just have Brenton play him again.
I'd love that. I mean, if like, there's a part of me that would love to just fix Titans and put it inside the Arrowverse. Yeah. Like, keep the cast, put in Wally and like Roy, and have it be a new show. Like, that would be a dream. Yeah. But yeah, okay. Let's move on to your third pitch here.
Okay, cool. So No Time for Heroes. The reason why it's called that is because, you know, they're not heroes, they're legends. So it's not time for heroes anymore, it's time for legends now. Because the superheroes are compromised. And that's like a big theme of this season is maybe heroes aren't the way to go with this threat. Like maybe you need people who are a little bit more gray area, who are a little bit more outside of, you know, doing the right thing all the time. So a lot of while the superheroes are kind of turning on themselves and collapsing on Earth Prime, the legends are out here going around the multiverse trying to do things. But the thing is, I wouldn't have it be like a cameo fest. I wouldn't, you know, be going to Titans and Birds of Prey and Superman and Lois and all that. I would keep this very, very, very secluded to very specific Earths and very specific places. But this is essentially a season of like the legends recruiting people they know aren't going to be compromised. So this is where Mia, Bart, Nora, and William come into play. So they've got their own little side stories going on in all 3 seasons. But then this season they come back and they're like now a part of Legends is like squad of not Suicide Squad, but non-Suicide Squad, people who saved the day. But then and there's obviously some multiverse stuff because that's the future. So who I'm saying is they go near for the multiverse stuff is I wouldn't go near Superman and Lois. I think personally that like I don't know. I love Superman and Lois, but from what we've seen of like that version of Superman, that version of Lois, that version of the kids, I don't know if they'd work in the Arrowverse at all. I don't know if you take them and you put them anywhere near these characters. I think they work best when they're off on their own. Like, as much as it annoyed me back in season 2 when they cut themselves, I think season 3 very much shows this is a show that maybe shouldn't be bogged down in franchise stuff. Sure. So I would keep them away. Titans, maybe touch on Titans a little bit just to like give the fans something. Maybe Gar. But I think mainly the future kids, Stargirl, and then Kingdom Come Brandon Routh, Superman.
Oh, hell yeah.
They're the ones they bring in and are like, okay. So between that, it's a combination of the Legends of Tomorrow, the Justice Society, Routh, Superman, and the future heroes. And the kind of the last few episodes of the season are them coming back to Earth Prime and like dealing with all of that. And they stop them, and it's kind of this revelation of all the heroes who came back are compromised, not just 1 or 2. All of them are. And it's like, this is bad. Where's the Justice League? Does this mean the Justice League's dead? Like, did they kill them? But this is the same situation where I don't think this is fair to have this be all the way through 3 seasons with not seeing the real main characters at all yet. Like, to go to season 4 or season 5 and not seeing the characters you're watching this franchise for is a little disingenuous. So this is probably something where, like, if I had time to write it, I'd work in a way so that we're still seeing the main Justice League all the way through it. Like, in various sort of spots, maybe like cutting back and forth to them, and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I think that's kind of the plan for the third season would be like pretty Legends focused, and then this can deal with
Hell
a
yeah,
lot of their left up story threads.
sure. Oh, I can definitely see a lot of people be pissed, be like, we don't want Legends, but like I definitely really like that because I think Legends like definitely always gets to like not these guys. We don't
Yeah,
want these guys. But kind of having them finally show their due and show, hey, we have a reason to be here. Like, hey, we can we like to have fun, but like we can be heroes too. Like we can
yeah.
also be heroes. I like really like that. Now, Mr. Showrunner, sir, could we see a Mr. Ray or like a Mr. Citizen Cold pop in from like the multiverse?
I think you could. I think you definitely
Okay,
could. I
cool.
think seeing like Heatwave or Captain Cold or something like that show up from or the Ray show up
Hmm.
through like out these other universes could definitely work. I think the Ray, like I think showing up to Earth 2 and seeing Stargirl's Earth and finding out the Ray is a part of their Justice Society would just make a lot of
Oh,
sense. I feel like he just worked there.
yeah,
Um, and then Citizen Cold can like easily be on that sort of Justice Society as well and coming through there. But I think this is good as well because like you can bring in Jay Garrick using this sort of stuff, and like Jay's like,
oh yeah.
wait, what do you mean Barry and the team are compromised? Like, what are you talking about? And then they're like, yeah, no, it's bad on Earth Prime.
Aw,
So then like you get a lot of kind of the non-main heroes are coming back to save
sure.
the main heroes, which I think the Arrowverse never really did that. We never saw like the side heroes have to save the main heroes. Like even when Invasion sort of did that, we still had Barry and Oliver being the ones to save everybody. Like when everybody's brainwashed, like that's not the side heroes. Whereas now it is the
Right.
side heroes having to save everybody.
That's fun. That is very, very fun. I like it. I like it a lot. Alrighty. And to kind of continue through my thread of saving things and kind of similar projects here, I guess.
Oh,
Is Legends of Tomorrow the
oh,
final ride?
we got a caution there.
I know. We got some things here.
Interesting.
Um, that like that title is terrible. I would definitely never name a project the final ride. But no, I mean this is kind of I think Legends where they were at was kind of at the point where like okay we are kind of heading towards the end here. I think either way I think we would have been going into the final season if it had got another season, and even the final season kind of felt like a final season. Like it really felt like we
Yeah,
were wrapping up certain characters. um and I think the final season would have been a lot of um like I always really liked the idea of it just being Prison Break, but with like Legends. And I really liked the idea of like kind of what the comic was like
yeah,
kind of the plot of the comic is what I would have loved the final season to be. Is literally like Ray being like, "Yo, our friends are trapped in prison. We're gonna go save them." And he gets Jax up in here. He has the gun. He brings in the Hawks and all these people, and they're going through and they're going to rescue the team. And like maybe it's like a Suicide Squad type thing where like they're going to go rescue them, but the Legends have already like rescued themselves and they're out. And then they kind of are like a thing where like, wait, we're here to rescue you, and but like they kind of get tied in. And kind of the main plot of the season is kind of taking down this new time corporation. They kind of teased last season that like Black Flash was kind of in that loop a lot, and kind of like what's going on with this other team of space time cops. They're very corrupt. We like find out that maybe like they're using all this for like their evil means, like they're fully just like using it as they will to take out things and people that are in their way. And it's very much like time cops and the Legends and time cops versus each other. And I think it's a very nice parallel to the first season where that was kind of that like it was the time masters versus the Legends, and kind of having this kind of clash with them. And obviously, this is our opportunity to bring back all these characters. You can bring back Rip Hunter for one final time.
hell yeah,
It's a full. Obviously, the cast is way too big with the old and the new. Here, it's just way too much. Booster Gold. This is also kind of Booster Gold's like backdoor pilot of sorts. Like we like really learn what he's about, and like potentially in the future we could do more with him. And we kind of end Legends of Tomorrow as they stood. Like I would end the season with like our main team kind of again taking over this old team, but realizing hey, how we were doing this, like somehow throughout the way we found out how we were running time probably wasn't the best. Like there are seasons where like they're just like, oh, we're just going to go back and change things because like that sounds fun. And I was just like, wait a minute, wait. I thought we were against this. Like 2 seasons ago, we would have been the villains for doing that thing, for just redoing time for our own means. And I think this really would have been a wake up call for Sarah to be like, no, we have to start running this properly. Or maybe even like an idea of like, maybe we shouldn't have been doing this in the first place. Like maybe
Okay,
time should just
interesting.
time, you know? And maybe it's them retiring and realizing there shouldn't be a time master. There's time should time itself kind of thing. Maybe that wouldn't work. Maybe it's like, oh yeah, there needs to be someone to take care of time, or it would all fall apart or something. I don't know. This is the one I didn't think too much about this. I just kind of want to be like, one final season, all the characters are back. Black Flash, Booster Gold is involved, and it's like 3 hours long of crazy wackiness. And also, I kind of want to like, oh man, like I want to find a tone that fits Legends well, because I do think
Yeah, I get you.
like it's a hard line, because I like Legends when it's a bit not dark, but like I love season 2 and 3 of Legends a lot, because they had this perfect balance of,
There were
this is a
stakes.
goofy ass show, right? Like this is a goofy ass show, but also like we could die, like Malice could
Yeah.
kill us, right? Like right now. And I think like I want to bring maybe back people from the start, and also like, because like the people, like Legends is very weird, because like again we lost a show after season 3 of like Legends. Like we lost that show that like we loved, but also it gained an entire new audience of
It
people
did,
who
yeah.
loved it, and I
It
would
did.
hate to take that away from them. Like I don't want to take away this new show after years of being like, bring it back, to be like, oh, this isn't the show I loved, right? So like finding that balance of like, oh yeah, maybe have it goofy, have like walking teddy bears walking around, have characters, you know, blow up as a balloon or whatever, but also like, oh no, our characters are going through something very serious right now. Hey, they were going through very deep arcs right now at the same time. Black Flash is a, I don't know if we make him the villain. I don't know if that's what we do, or if just someone using him in the background kind of thing to like their own will or something. I don't know, but I don't know. Something that can find that balance, I guess, is like what I do.
Let me ask a question, good sir.
Mhm.
So, if you're bringing Booster Gold in, like properly,
Okay.
are you you gonna do some
Mm,
Blue Beetle, some Blue and Gold stuff at any point,
mm, mm, mm.
or
I
hmm,
would say, and I kind of hinted that I kind of want to um maybe explore Booster Gold's journey a bit more in the future of like the Arrowverse.
mhm,
So maybe some teases, maybe something at the
okay,
end that maybe could,
maybe a little Scarab?
um, yeah. But I also think there's a lot going on here. Like there's a lot of characters. Like if we're bringing
Yeah,
back all the
for
old
sure.
Legends and like our 12 main team and Booster Gold and the villain, like there's a lot here. I again, I think like the rest of kind of like in my head they were movies. This one I think had to be a show. Like this has to be like 13 episodes to fully
Yeah,
flesh
yeah,
out all of these characters. I'd probably have our team split up actually. Like maybe for half the season, hey, this team's off doing this, hey, this team's off doing this, and then at the end they kind of come together as one kind of final thing or whatever. But or like in very like Legends fashions, like, hey, this team has to go here to do this team to do this team to
yeah,
do this,
yeah.
because like have 3 separate teams each episode doing different tasks or something, because there is so much.
Okay,
And the budget would be insane, but like,
it will be insane.
what you gonna do? What you
You're
gonna
like
do?
you bought the planet, so
I bought the planet, so I am good.
I do
The
like how
12 people watching would love it.
I do like how your projects are like they're like an evolution of the Arrowverse, where they still feel like they've got the traditional Arrowverse feel to them,
Mhm.
but they're evolving more to match like what DC is now. I like
Sure.
that.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Alrighty, your 4th project. You're almost done here,
Okay.
Connor.
All
Do you
right,
have 4 or a 5?
I got 5.
Okay, cool. Oops, that's mine.
Oh, that little sneak peek. Little sneak peek there.
Out of order. Uh
Little sneak peek on what your next project is.
Jump to 4. I will have to remember to go backwards next time and not forward. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Um.
Uh,
All right. So the Odyssey, I kind of stole the name from Arrow, the season 1
how
episode
dare
14.
you?
The episode where Oliver and Slater on the island. But I mean, like the original story of the Odyssey that Oliver's quoting is
Yeah.
all about like getting home, like a character who is stuck very far away from home and he's trying to get back to everything he knows and all that sort of stuff. And that's essentially what I think season 4 would be. I would have season 4 completely focused on the real Justice Leaguers. and their journey getting back to Earth Prime, like their journey escaping where the villain is keeping them, and getting back like to everyone they know, everyone they love, everyone they care about. So this is Clark, but it's Supergirl's version of Clark, not Superman Lois. Then Ryan, Kara, Barry, Jefferson, and John Jones, and Ryan Walter. Did I already say Ryan? I think I did.
Yeah, that's right
So yeah, it's them. But like the general gist of the story would be that I have like the first half of the season is the just complete like POV of them. And then the second half of the season is mostly the reunion stuff once they get back. It's like various characters reuniting, a very kind of slow second half in comparison to the first half. But how they escape is that the wherever they're being kept in whatever cells or whatever. I'm sure if I had more time, I'd come up with like an actual cell. But there's this like green energy thing that hits all the cells and completely deactivates them, and they have no idea what that green energy was. So they just start running. They're like, okay, this is our opportunity. We got to get the hell out of here. So then we see like the journey of them traveling through maybe the multiverse, maybe different time periods, all trying to get back to Earth Prime. And they eventually do. And then when they get back home, the heroes are like, look, we could go after this villain, but we've been trapped for ages. And Oliver and the Spectre, whenever he starts trying to go after the multiverse, Oliver will stop him. Like Oliver's still up there, we're sure he'll just stop him. Turns out Oliver actually already tried to stop him. 2 years ago, before the Justice Leaguers were taken, Oliver already like became aware of this guy, went after him. I'm saying guy, it can be man, woman, any gender, any pronouns. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to use like he for the
Sure.
ease of explaining this. But Oliver tried, and it did not go well. So right before the villain tried to kidnap the heroes, Oliver tried to stop the guy, and completely failed. And Oliver has been locked in this like terrible sort of cell thing for the last few years, but he's been building up his energy since he was captured 2 years ago. And it's only a little bit of time. Every day he builds up a little bit more, and he used that energy to throw at the cells and unlock them so that the heroes could escape. But they have no idea that happened. But this cell mostly like keeps his godlike Spectre powers in check. Anyway, the villain comes up to him after the heroes escape, and Oliver's like, they'll stop you, you know they will. And then the villain's like, look, they could try, it ain't gonna make a difference. And before anybody asks, the reason the villain didn't kill the Justice Leaguers is because he thought that the best way to defeat the heroes was always going to be to use them to defeat themselves. So he was like, I need to keep the originals in case I still need more ways to kind of trick the real heroes on Earth Prime that are left into fighting each other, whatever. So he's like, it's better to keep them alive and in prison than to kill them now and then not have any way to stop the other heroes. So that's all that. But anyway, dude, he's got his weapon. He's got this weapon he's going to use to destroy the multiverse. He's revving it up. He's like, okay, I need to test this on something. And he turns it on Oliver. And he's like, you're the Spectre. I'm going to test it on you. If your godlike powers can't withstand it, then I'm pretty sure the multiverse can't. And shoots it at Oliver, and it completely strips Oliver of all the powers, of all the Spectre godhood powers, and it throws Oliver out of the multiverse vanishing point or wherever he is, and sends Oliver in human form back to Earth Prime. Which that's something I was a little bit like, do I want to do that? Like, is that too much? Like, is that kind of going against the ending of Arrow? But that's how it ends season 4 anyway. So it's like Oliver's back now on Earth Prime in human form, and he's pissed. He's real pissed.
Right.
And the heroes are like, okay, we don't got a Spectre to save us now, so we're gonna have to fight this guy ourselves. And that leads into the 5th season.
Okay. All right. This season sounds like the most hype thing I've ever heard. This sounds like everything we've been leading towards. All our characters are finally back, and like Oliver's back, and I definitely, because like I was almost thinking like if there's a multiverse thing, Oliver is going to become an end. Like if we were talking about this live each week, we would be saying like, why didn't Oliver stop it? And like that's one of those like jokey things where it's like obviously they're not going to answer it because they can't have him, but you already thought about that, and that's very.
I was like, you know what? If Oliver shows up, there's going to need to be a reason why he hasn't been like already like on the field for this. So
right, and I definitely also love the idea of like, I mean, I always love like Oliver's faith that he has in Barry and Kara, and like his whole thing was like, I can die. I have faith that I can die because I have made a legacy of new heroes that can take
Yeah.
up this spot. So he has so much faith in them that he's like, yeah, I can't stop you, but yeah, they're definitely stopping you, loser. Like they're like, you don't stand a chance, guy. So that's
That's the kind of
great.
thing I wanted to go with, was like,
Yeah,
both sides are like, don't worry, the other side's got this. Like the
right.
heroes on Earth Prime are like, this is bad enough. Oliver's going to stop it. Don't worry. And then Oliver up there is like, they're going to stop you. Don't worry. But it's like, they can't
Yeah.
stop them on their own. They're going to have to team up. It's when they're together they can beat them, not separately.
Ah, that sounds so hyped. Like I can just imagine the hypeness of like Oliver coming in and that they're all standing around together in that team shot of
Yeah.
like, oh my god. The photos that like we would get, like I'd be like, yep, I'm putting
It'd be
this as
so
my
great.
wallpaper. Like, oh my gosh. I cannot imagine what that like team shot would look like. But no, that's great. Like I definitely think you're nailing. Like this just sounds like a sick crossover event. Like this sounds like something that they would definitely
Giant,
like a
like,
very
fight.
like Elseworldsy, where it's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So hell yeah, I love it, love it, love it, love it. Alrighty, I'm going into my. I guess I have to go backwards.
Yeah, you got to go back.
And you talked about Superman and Lois a little bit ago and how you think it should stay separate. And I
You're
had
doing the
the
opposite.
opposite. I'm doing the
Okay.
opposite where I'm retconning shit because I don't give a
Okay,
fuck.
sweet.
Uh,
Sweet. I respect
so
the hell out of that.
in this universe, Superman and Lois was never not canon. It was canon the whole time.
Okay.
Now I think your first question is like, hey, that's a Lex Luthor, like that's our new Lex Luthor. And I'll just say like, I don't know, he made a fucking clone or something. Like he's from another Earth, or
He went
he's a
to
clone.
Walking Dead. He grabbed Abraham. And he brought him over.
Yeah,
He shaved his head.
it probably just like the like it's a new Lex Luthor from love. I kind of like the idea of cloning or something like that. Like
Yeah.
maybe John Cryer was like, I'm going to make a clone of myself to be Superman, and like this guy kills John Cryer. Superman is like, all right, now I'm the
That'd be
only
cool.
Lex Luthor now. Like a passing of the torch type situation. No, I mean, and this is basically like my pitch of this is basically what I want season 4 of Superman and Lois to be, but just set inside the Arrowverse and with some of these Arrowverse heroes. Like I think I just kind of want to tell the Superman and Lois story with the amount of characters that we can have with that time we can have it. And I want to end season 3 of your Superman and Lois with Superman dying and seeing those consequences. Like we've talked about this in the past. Like Lois and like the boys, they now have to go undercover because Lex Luthor is going to come and fucking kill them. Jordan is now like, this is my fault. I was a freaking brat. Like I was the son of Superman and I didn't step up, and now I have to step up. I have to be Superman. Lois like, no, the hell you're not. Like you cannot take on Lex Luthor. You know, you cannot do this, and you have all these different pieces in play. I like the idea that we have our league involved here. Like Clark, like Barry and Kara, they are trying to also like they're trying to be a part of their city, but also like kind of like pick up the slack. So like one day is Barry's, and then next day's John's, and next day's Kara, and like they like take turns, but that's not enough because they have to do everything at once. And this is a real story, and I think throughout the journey, obviously we're doing that Death of Superman story, and I think and we've talked about this so many times, but I think Tyler Hoechlin and Betsy could do such a beautiful Death of Superman story. I cannot imagine a grieving Betsy for like 6 or 7 episodes of I lost the love of my life, but I have to carry on for my kids and for the world, because the whole world's watching me right now. Like the whole world now knows my husband was Superman, and I have to stay strong for them. I also have to stay strong because Lex Luthor is after me, and like these heroes can only do so much to protect me, but also there's an instinct of like, she still wants to go out and save people because like Luthor is doing all these weird scientific things and he's sending these things out to find them, and like she feels such a guilt because she feels like it's almost her fault in like a way. Like there's all these different elements to it, and I think once Clark does come back, I know he would like the version of like Tyler's Clark doing that story and feeling that love when he comes back of what the world is like without Superman and how the people around him's lives are affected without Superman, I think would be one of the most beautiful things I think the show could do. Because I think, again, they've nailed the version of Clark so much, and they've nailed the version of Lois. And like the show's done such a great job at showing us the impact of Superman while he is here, and the lives he changed while he is here, and just like the like love and like energy and vibes that he's that he gives off while he's here, and then take that away and let us feel what those effects are, I think would be a really, really fun story. Again, just kind of fixing what I think the network did wrong, kind of putting Superman Lois back in its place. It's kind of fixing it. And again, Superman is a staple. Like Superman in my world, Superman is our new Arrow. He is like the new head of like everything, and this is fully putting the Arrowverse staple in Superman and Lois. Like Barry is fully here, Kara is here. They are part of the plot. Like there's you'll have ones where Kara is at the funeral and she's like, I will do whatever I can to help your family, to help you here, to take down Lex. Like she is there, but also she can't be because she's going back and forth from space, and she has her city, and she has her team, and like again, they're trying their best, but yeah. So just Death of Superman. This is basically just Superman Lois season 4 in the Arrowverse this time.
I like it.
That's my pitch.
Would you like a lot of the Superman Lois supporting cast? It's like Steel, not all that. Okay.
Yes. Everyone is there. It's just canon this time.
Okay. Cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Doing what they should have done.
Right. I am like this pitch. Like I said, I have a lot of fun ideas of how I would continue the Arrowverse, but I feel like this pitch is just fixing the Bear stuff first, fixing what they broke first, and then I could eventually have fun, and I could do Wonder Girl, and I could do a Wally West movie,
yeah.
I could do a Martian. There's so many ideas in my head I could do, but I feel like I have to fix things first before I could get there.
Yeah, I like it a lot. That's really cool.
Right. Appreciate it. All right, are you ready for your final pick?
Sure. Why not?
Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it
Ooh.
either. Tease
Guys,
part
this
2.
one's in color. It's the last one. And All Good Things is a reference to the final of Star Trek: The Next Generation. All Good Things.
Oh, it's Star Trek here. Patrick
Stewart's playing Green Arrow. Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson's here. That's not his name.
It's like all good things come to an end, and that's kind of what I'd model this off of, being the definitive ending for the Arrowverse. So it's our team, going head to toe with this new multiversal villain, which I didn't really think too much about how they beat the villain or anything like that. That's something for 5 weeks straight of thinking about before I'd come up with. But Oliver's pissed
first, and then you can think about it.
Exactly. Yeah, got to be greenlit. Got to deal with that sort of stuff. But Oliver's pissed. The heroes are pissed. Everybody's back. The legends and the multiversal heroes that joined in are all still there too, and they're like, "All right, this guy's going to blow up the multiverse. How are we stopping this? How are we going to deal with this?" So this would be the format of this would be a little bit differently. The first 12 episodes are kind of preparing for it, and that leads us right up to week 52. But then there's a second 12 episodes, so it's like a 24 episode season split into 2 parts.
Oh my gosh!
The second half is the complete wrap up of the entire Arrowverse. It's the event itself and then the Arrowverse, whereas the first 12 episodes are leading up to the event.
Sure.
So then deal with that. Then we got a lot of endings. I don't know, endings for characters, reunions. Some people die, some people make it. I don't know who dies. I don't really think about that too much. I'd probably kill off all of them. Maybe everybody. No, not everybody.
Oliver again. Gosh damn.
It's he just gets pushed off a cliff or something during the battle, and he just wakes up down there 2 years later. But I think just the general idea for this would be give everyone a legitimate ending no matter what. Nobody gets left with their stories hanging or with their character arcs hanging. Everybody gets something final to their character. I probably would kill Oliver properly because I feel he already died. He got brought back. He was Spectre. I still feel like Oliver's story only ends with him dead. And I think this time he dies, but without godhood, he's just dead. He's no Spectre
anymore.
People
will hate you, Connor. People want you dead by this point.
I'll be getting lots of hate mail, lots of hate tweets. But I'm looking forward to it. There's no Spectre stuff to save Oliver this time. He just dies. I would have Barry retire. I think this is at this point 4 years after Flash Season 9 ended. I think it's fine for him to retire. I'd have Wally or one of the extra be one of the people you train in your spin-off movie.
Sure.
One of them take over as Flash. I'd have Clark transition to the Kingdom Come look for the character and have it kind of be this Clark is sort of in his mature older era now, where it's he's still around, but he's he's getting a little bit of gray on the sides. He's looking a bit more badass of a character, and maybe looks a little bit like Omni-Man, but without the evil, insane part. Maybe after seeing the Brandon Routh Superman, he models his current costume after that or something like that. Kara, I would have Kara go to the 31st century and join the Legion at the very end. I'd have her like she still comes back and forth, but it's like her residence now is mostly the 31st century. And she sort of like is dealing with the Legion quite a bit. I still think Supergirl the show maybe should have ended like that, but whatever. You agree?
I definitely agree.
Okay. Yeah. Diggle's back a little bit, but he never takes up the lantern ring. I'd have it that
Not you too.
Oh, you did that?
Oh no. I'm just saying, like, not you too. After Eric Wallace and the CW,
yeah.
Everyone else said no ring.
See, I still think it's like, I think it was stupid for them to do it in the first place, but I'd honor that they did it because they made the argument that Diggle's doing this for his family, and I wouldn't have him take up the ring now because I feel like it would be disingenuous to the arc that they gave him in Flash. So I'm like, I would respect even if I don't agree with everything they've done, I would respect what they've done. And I think that's kind of how I would go with a lot of these endings. It's like, I'd respect that they ended it that way.
Yeah.
But in general, the whole thing, I'd stay away hard from like introducing new characters, which is why I wouldn't do like Green Lantern stuff. Kind of wanted to just feel like an Arrowverse ending. And then that would be, that'd be that.
That's very fair. Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, you did this whole 5-season show, bringing back all these characters and going on this journey. Like, what would you say is like the legacy of this franchise? Like, after you do this whole journey with them.
Interesting. Like what? Like where things would be at the end, or
like what's the final message that you kind of want to leave after doing this entire journey with these characters? Like what do you want to leave people with?
That stories don't always continue. That like for characters like Oliver, who's dead now, for Barry, who's retired, for Kara, who's gone,
right?
Stories don't always end with the adventure continues. Sometimes stories end and it's pretty definitive, it's pretty final. All good things come to an end, and that sometimes you got to deal with that.
Right.
Like sometimes endings are they're sad. They're not what you thought they'd be. They don't always end happily. Sometimes they do, and kind of like that. At the end of the day, I would want the Arrowverse to go out in a very sort of a high note, but a serious note.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's great. And like, the Arrowverse was always like for years we were wondering how they were going to end the Arrowverse, because it's such a weird franchise, because you can't have like, okay, this is their ending point, because then you would have to end shows that didn't want to end yet, right? Like I've had talks with like people who are like, I should have ended with Crisis, and I don't necessarily disagree, but also I don't think that's fair. Like Batwoman just started. Fair, Like you can't expect these shows to end just because one person said, hey, they should end. Like, no, we still have all these stories that we still want to tell with these characters. So like it was always going to be very hard, and like how it ended up going, like I do think the Flash being the final one was cool, and like ultimately it would have been nice if they were like, okay, here's one final crossover event after the Flash is over to just wrap everything up, kind of like what you're doing here. But like, no, I definitely think that's very cool, just to kind of do one final thing and then be like, goodbye, which is the opposite of what I'm doing. Is like, yeah, we got 10 more years of this shit. Let's
20 seasons, going. Let's go.
But no, that's amazing, man. This has been like a lot of fun to see your kind of
thank you
like trilogy of DC movies here.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I love it. Do you kind of have, because like I still have my last two here, do you have any kind of final thoughts that you want to send while we're talking about yours?
Kind of just like what you touched on there about it's not fair to end everything with Crisis. I feel like I've heard people who said that they dropped out of the Arrowverse when Crisis ended because they saw that as Arrow's ending, they don't need to continue anymore.
Which is fair.
And I feel like I love that Arrow got its ending, but I do feel like, and I like Legends, I like Batwoman, but I like Black Lightning, but I was never like nearly as into them as a lot of the other fandom were. And I think it's not fair to them that they never got their
Arrow,
their event to kind of close everything out the way Arrow did. So like I would want to revisit that and like give this away so that people can't go like, well, I don't want to rewatch Legends because it doesn't get an ending. I don't want to rewatch Batwoman because it's cancelled. Like at least now it's like you can rewatch them.
There is an ending,
You can
right?
watch the final bit.
100%. Yeah, that is very fair. And like my whole journey is about like restarting it and not necessarily ending it, but like I would definitely agree. Like eventually, when I got to the point where I would want to properly end things, like how would I go about this? And like I definitely think a big crossover event like you did
Yeah.
here was very smart. Yeah,
Got to bring them all together one last time.
I will say Oliver dying again does break my heart just a bit. Like I feel like
I mean, I don't think it's a great, like if I was watching that, the first thing I would say is that's bad writing. I'd be like, killing him again, that's just bad writing. Think of something more creative to do with him. So for me, going that direction is definitely very lazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he never died the first time, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think dying like 3 times in total is like, whoa, you're right.
It's a bit much.
It is, but I like it. But like I also like agree with you as I think Oliver's journey is him dying. Like I always thought that was where he ended. So like and like he is technically dead, but it is kind of in a place where like, but not really. Like if he really wants to, he could just be back.
Yeah.
Right.
Like when the character can come back whenever you want, they're not really dead. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I don't mind for him, but it does definitely scream like maybe you should have killed him off or something. I don't know. But no, this was a lot of fun. I definitely really love where you took things here. Already, so in my pitch, I think most of my cleaning up is done. I think I've done a lot of the like repairs. A lot of characters are either in new eras of their shows or movies, or they kind of wrapped up. Like Flash kind of wrapped up. Like Legends is wrapped up a little bit. But in Legends, we were kind of planting the seeds that Legends is over, but maybe we are trying to grow out newer things. And my 5th is Booster Gold. I have a Booster Gold series to kind of continue on the mantle of Legends. I think Arrowverse always did a very good job about that. We're like, we have our main show, but we're going to kind of introduce a character through this other show to grow out our world. And I think that's kind of like the foundation of everything that the Arrowverse is. And I don't have like a plot detail kind of idea. It's just kind of just like the like general idea that one of our new main heroes within the Arrowverse will be Booster Gold and will be kind of this one of these new main heroes after Legends. I think I want to kind of having a like a comedy within the world of the Arrowverse is fine. Like I like that there could be a show that's hey, maybe not as serious as your Batwoman or even your Superman Lois. And Daniel is so funny. This actor is so funny. I haven't even seen him in like a lot of stuff, but everything I see him in, I think he's hilarious. And I think you could, not to make it like a sitcom, because that's not what I want, but I think having this like comedy flair to it in a show that can be kind of darker. I think you can introduce your like Blue Beetles in here. This can be a more time travel. I think would definitely be a part of it, but maybe like each season he's stuck in like one time era. Where like each season he's going through these different time eras and different things. Maybe a season he's in like Arrow season 1 or something, and that's the time era he's in, cool. And he's watching these different things, and like maybe he's like in the Arrowverse crossovers, but like but just because he just happened to be there that season or something, and he's stuck with all these other heroes and stuff like that. I just like at this point in my Arrowverse franchise, I am now, because Legends is over, Flash is over, so like currently we have Batwoman, we have Batwoman, and we have Superman Lois. Like those are kind of and like Stargirl as well, like often as kind of own separate. So Stargirl, Batwoman, Superman. What is our next show? And our newest show would be Booster Gold to kind of start this new legacy of like what the future of the Arrowverse is ultimately going to look like. And again, you could do your Blue Beetles if you want. You can introduce these other comic booky type heroes. Maybe you have like a thing where like you have a JSA one where he meets up with like the old Arrowverse like JSA. That could be kind of cool. Obviously you can bring in some Legends characters every once in a while as like a cameo or like a one-off thing, just kind of bridging that gap. Oh, like away from Legends, that's over, but something new, something fresh with Booster Gold.
I like that. I like that a lot. It's utilizing the character in a way everybody's been asking them to for like 5 years.
Oh, I mean Rip Hunter as well. Like bring in Rip. Yeah. I mean, you can even maybe have him be like a side character throughout your show if you really wanted to.
Pete James going to the punch. Be like, sorry, James, we're making Booster Gold over here instead.
Yep, totally. Totally. And like
I love it.
I genuinely think that was their plan. Like I think they wanted to do something with the Booster Gold character. If Legends would have been canceled, obviously if, like James Gunn wouldn't have allowed another Booster Gold show. Like that wouldn't have
No.
happened. But I think in the original Limelight, I thought they were going to try and do what Flash did or what Arrow did with their Mia, and what Black Lightning did with like their Painkiller and all that kind of fun stuff.
For sure.
But right. But also, what's next? What's another show? Like obviously we've ended a lot of show. We're wrapping up characters. What's another one? And this one, I don't feel like it's creative because it's just a thing that they already wanted to do. But I feel like I talked about the show for so long that I just kind of wanted it to happen. I think there was a lot of possibilities with the show. And that's Justice
Making my
U.
project again.
No, Justice U. I wanted Justice U. Like Justice U was my last hope. It was the last string. I was like,
It was a dark
if
era.
if the Arrowverse is going to continue, this show has to get picked up. And I thought it was the perfect show to be that hope. Because it's John freaking Diggle. He's been there since day one. It would be such a massive win if we got that co-lead of Arrow to come back, your potential Green Lantern to come in here and lead a whole new generation of heroes. The whole pitch of like his show was like he's going to train these new heroes. That was such a great opportunity to bring in all these new characters into the Fade, to bring in old characters that we knew from either Arrow. This is going to be such a great place that you could wrap up other characters' stories. Like you could be like, hey, the like Green Arrow show didn't get picked up. Let's throw Mia on the season of this show and she's hanging out with these other heroes. Like there's so many things that you could do with this. And I could have just done Green Lantern. Like I have the budget. I could just have John Diggle be Green Lantern. I could do that. But I actually really do like the idea of him being more of a mentor figure.
Yeah.
I
think it suits him
like it does. And I'm still doing the Green Lantern thing, I think. I still want to do that, but I think we're seeing his like he's in a spot where he doesn't want it still. Like he's like, fine, I have to be this thing, whatever. And I think he's trying to hide it. Like he doesn't want to use his powers. And I think he kind of has a very similar arc to Martian Manhunter in season 1 of Supergirl, where he is kind of this hero on the side. He's this, there's like the whole city is like, there's this new green hero around. He's so cool and like we want to be him. And then like these new kids are coming in like, oh, but we got our lame teacher here. We got to learn a lesson about all this thing. And like halfway through the season, they found out, oh, he's the Green Lantern. He's this hero that we look up to. And he's definitely a way where like the show's about these new kids and them working as a team, a very Young Justice style show. But when we need him to pop in and save us and lead us into battle and stuff like that, he will suit up and be that figure. Obviously, that would help with the budget a bit, where it's like, it's a Green Lantern show, but also he's only Green Lantern like 5 times throughout this first season or something, right? So we're not wasting all that budget. Again, I also think this is such a good way to introduce new characters. Eventually maybe it can turn into not even just kids. Like after like 3 or so seasons, it does turn into like your like anthology series where like, hey, we're throwing Peacemaker on here, hey, we're throwing Mia on here, hey, here's Wally and Roy, or here's Wonder Girl, or like whatever. And also just a great place to pitch new shows where like, hey, we're introducing this new character. Like, hey, like let's say like Wonder Girl or something. Like, hey, we want to do a Wonder Girl show. So let's introduce her through this new show. Diggle trains her for a season, and then she goes off and goes back to her home or goes off to her own new city, and then that's a new show. And I think again, like if we're going into a new era of like the Arrowverse, I think bringing in someone that was there from day one, another very strong person that's very capable of leading their own show, and I think I like by the end here, obviously I did a lot of like repairing, but I do think we have a very new strong lineup. Like you have Superman, you have Batwoman, you have a Green Lantern, you have your Booster Gold, which again isn't the biggest character, but also is a comic book character. Like it is a pretty and I think you have, again, you no longer have Flash and Green Arrow and Supergirl, but I think you have some strong characters here
for sure.
And like, of course, I would like throughout this again, I would go off and I'd then be like maybe a Wally West movie, or maybe a Wonder Girl, or maybe like a like an Outsiders project, or like there's so many things I would love to do, a Dreamer something, like a Dreamer movie or something. Like there's so many things I would do, but I think like my main goal with these 6 projects was just kind of fix the things I didn't like, or like fix the things that I didn't think really worked, or kind of it was very messy, and then create a new path where these characters in this universe can kind of grow out and be prosperous, right? And like in their new journeys. So those are my 6.
Justice U is a really good way to cap it, because it's like the old generation bringing in the new sort of thing.
100%. Yeah. And I just like John Diggle and like Superman almost being your two new leads of it all. I think is very cool. Like
Yeah.
Superman and like Green Lantern is such a fun duo that I think could like very much lead like crossovers and stuff like that in like a fun way. 100%.
Green Superman, let's go.
And also like I always had the idea, and like when this was first announced, this was in my mind, where like the plot of that first season was like them going undercover to create this school, like like this evil school, and they have to go like undercover. But I always loved the idea, and again, this would have never happened, but like in this fictional world, like you end season 1 with them being like, we're rebranding the school into our own superhero school, and you get characters from the past of the Arrowverse to teach these new kids. So you have like Black Canary here, and you have like Ray Palmer, and you have Ryan Choi, and all these heroes. Maybe John Constantine teaches magic or whatever. Like it's almost like
cool.
Hogwarts for superheroes.
Defense
kind of thing.
against the dark
Or, like,
arts, or thing.
Right. I guess it's kind of just X-Men, but like for DC in like a fun way.
Cool.
Again, they would have never have done that. But
Well,
in my head, I was like,
with you, they
it
would.
was like, oh, this is so cool, and like I can just imagine the final bit of like your first season of being like, well, it's our new school now, and there's like, who's gonna teach us? You just slow-mo all these characters from the past walking through and being like, we're our new teachers now, or like whatever. Like it's in my head, it's the most epic thing ever. But I don't know.
Sure.
I like it. It's fun. Arrowverse is back in my
idea.
head. Love it.
I just like how like varied they are, but they still feel like they all have the spirit of the Arrowverse. Like it feels like it's naturally carrying on everything.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And like that's kind of was always my issue, like not issue, but like the like frustration is like I always felt like in my head there were ways you could have saved it from all dying out if you had done if like again, it's not all their fault. Like, everything that happened with the company, like with your net star, like it wasn't any one person's fault. I felt like it was just a series of very unfortunate things, COVID and your net star and James Gunn and all these things just kind of coming through here and just unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
It is.
I also wanted to go back up and address a comment that we had earlier on in the stream. This one right here. Again, no hate. As much as I want to be optimistic regarding the Arrowverse, let's be real. Unless James Gunn Superman massively underperforms, it's going to stay dead. And
Superman underperforms. It's still dinged. It's still staying dead. It's not coming back ever.
Right. No, 100%. And also, like, I want to just say, like, that, like, this stream wasn't to say, hey, this is how I hope it comes back. This is just kind of ways of, like, hey, we're having, like, just to have fun and say how it'd be cool if it could come back. Just having less very creative, kind of like creative writing of just be like, hey, very, like, almost fanficky. Like, obviously, this isn't fanfic, but kind of is in, like, a weird way. Just kind of having fun with it, right?
Mine's definitely fanficky.
Yeah, definitely fanficky. But Connor, this was a lot of fun. This was a really fun stream. I would definitely love to go back and do some more of these, maybe like, hey, MCU pitches that we would do at some point, or even go back to like individual seasons, or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. would be a lot of fun. Just go through and be like, hey, what would we have done after season 7? Well, that's definitely something that we will have to brainstorm and think about at a later point. But Connor, this was fun. Thank you so much.
It was really fun. Hey, thanks for having me.
Of course. You are our co-host, Connor. You're welcome here anytime. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Hero's Journey was here. Trainer was here. Red Arrow was here. Kazi was here. A lot of people were here. Chainsaw was here very early on. Hi, Chainsaw.
Cool.
Forgot to shout you out. Sorry about that. Connor, what have you been working on? You just made a Superman video, right?
I'm working on it. Yeah, should be out tomorrow. But I think I might scrap it and do something on the crest instead. That crest.
Oh yeah, I saw something on like TikTok. I was like, is this the new video?
That was a little Superman happy birthday. A little birthday wish to my best pal.
You bet. Jimmy Olsen?
But yeah, Jimmy Olsen, yeah.
You?
But yeah, something on crest, maybe some Star Trek-y, and that's it.
That was so much fun. I'm so excited to just like clip that out of us being like, oh, first reaction. I'm so excited. Fun. That was so cool. I was like, okay, this is one of my new favorite moments from this show. It was so cool.
It was perfect timing. It was like 10 minutes in.
I know, it was perfect. That's exactly what I was hoping would happen. It would come out exactly as we started streaming.
I thought that's really late for it to come out, because like the cast vote was last week, came out at like 5 o'clock for me, and it's 10 o'clock, and that press came out.
Right. It's I don't know. I'm just glad it's out. If we have something to use for like thumbnails and
we know it's
stuff
real.
Like that. It's real. It is real, and it wasn't leaked. Wasn't like from a mile away. Like this is what his butt looks like or whatever. But guys, thank you so much for everyone that hopped in. This was really fun. We'll be back next week. I think we might be doing maybe like a suit ranking or something. Maybe something to like do with
Cool.
that photo coming out.
Superman thing?
Well, I mean, we should probably actually wait for the whole suit to come out then, huh?
See, if
I guess we
they
can't-
only did the crest today, they might like wait forever to do the suit, the full suit. They might wait months.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. So maybe we won't.
I feel like
We'll have to
if
wait,
they were
though.
going to do the whole thing soon, they would have like done it all today.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. We'll be back with something.
We'll see.
Bye-bye.
We'll see what happens.
Bye.
Maybe